Oh, I didn't change the... Can I change that stuff live? Probably not. Oh, boy. Okay. Guilty Angel, hello. How are you? We are just running a little... I'm running a little crazy, I'm not going to lie. It's been that kind of a day where it's just been absolutely nonstop. Like, literally have barely taken a moment to breathe. How are you? Oh, that's so great to hear. I'm so glad. So glad you got it. How you feeling? Did you have a good weekend? Yes, I'm sorry I was late. Hi, Delicate. I was just saying to Guilty Angel that it is crazy busy, or was crazy busy today. I'm like just running around with my head cut off for the most part. Jeremy Sisto isn't mean. Are you sure you're meaning Jeremy? Because he's kind of the good guy in this book. The audio stinks? Really? What's going on? What does it sound like? Is the audio bad for everybody? Oh, what is going on? My goodness. Let me get this straight. Here we go. Wow, sorry about that. I don't know what was going on there. All right, is that better? Is that a little better? Oh, it's still a little bad, huh? Oh, you're at the beginning. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Ah! All right. Is that better? Is that better or what? Is the sound terrible still? Thank you for telling me, Cosmic. And hello, by the way. I hope you had a good weekend, sir. It's better? Okay. Oh, I don't know what happened. We'll see if Angela's is bad now. I'm sitting there with my fingers on the dial just waiting. Angela's just showing up now.
Showing up.
She's late for work for a change. You know, you're going to get written up, Angela. You're about to get written up. I'm so excited because can you talk, Angela? Because I got to check your levels.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm here. How's that sound?
Good to see you.
Am I good?
I got you in on the live, and Guilty Angel loves Meadow in the book.
Oh yeah, isn't she great?
She's like that in person. I hope. At least she was. She was a pleasure to be around. She was a friend. I'll always think of her as that, and I'll always miss. I'll always remember fondly the times we spent together, and I'll always miss her to a certain extent. She was a good friend. Dr. Susan has arrived.
Sweet.
People are rolling in.
Have you seen Tanner yet?
Tanner, not yet.
I wanted to ask Tanner about how the family's going.
I have meant to reach out to him, and I have just not been able to. Oh my goodness, my mic is all screwed up, guys. Hang on one sec. I'll be right back. Angela, entertain them.
Do you have to leave?
No.
You're just doing a little twisteroo?
Yeah.
This is to professional audio engineers, this is called the tornado move that Dale's doing. You guys probably wouldn't understand because you're not professionals like we are.
Oh, Angela throwing disses at the audience.
No, it's a diss at myself because it's so obvious.
You wouldn't know.
It's so obvious I'm not the professional.
So something I'm excited about is that I finally started cutting shorts. So I hope you guys will check them out. You've already seen all this stuff before, and so asking you to watch even a minute more of it is probably unfair, but I'm going to ask you anyway because you're my only friends. And so as my only friends, please check out the short section. There's 5 or 6 there now. If you haven't seen them already. And yeah, I think they're adorable or entertaining.
You're adorable.
Well, I don't know about that. But I think it's check them out. You decide. If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, shut up about it. Don't say nothing to nobody.
If they're bad, you're wrong.
Oh yeah, Delicate's commented on them. Okay, great. Yeah, aren't they cool? I'm excited for them, and I like the little jingle at the end. Do you think that's cool? A little cool little jingle. grab that right off of the YouTube out of their music library. They have a free music library, so just went and snagged me a little funk. Looked for some funk, and I found a little groove. It was aight.
You did good.
All right.
Guilty Angel said, I'm finding the thesis in your text and subtext
in
your book.
It's there, all right. There's a lot of, I got a lot, yeah.
There were some of the scenes that Dale wanted to cut for a space, but they made such a good point about how awful his friends are.
Yes.
So I was like, no, those should stay in as like, character statements.
Oh my God, Mandy's here. She's on vacation in Spain.
Sweet.
Listen, man, this is the part about living in Europe, bro. Like, we go to Texas. You go to Spain. We don't go to Texas. I'm kidding. Only Texans go to Texas, really. But, Europeans, they're like, oh, I've got a weekend. Where shall I go? Oh, Barcelona, of course. I'm so excited for you. That's so awesome. Well, thank you for dropping by, Mandy. We have missed you. I have missed you. Angela, have you?
Yes. Okay. I have like a dozen bookmarks all saved on like where to go in Spain by like tourist blogs. I'm never going to go, but I dream of it constantly.
There was something else I wanted to tell you guys that happened this weekend. There was the shorts. There was something else. I'll think of it. I'm excited about something. It'll come out.
Did you bring topics to talk about today?
I have some, yeah.
So
I bring
things are interesting because since Dale's been editing these highlights,
yes,
I don't see much of them all day. So oftentimes when we're telling you guys about the things that we've discovered,
you don't know what's going on now.
We're talking to each other for the first time about it too.
I am having a little bit of the like Karen Reed, like something to do withdrawal. I'm glad the woman's not on trial anymore and going through it. But and by the way, I'm sorry about the messed up thumbnail and everything. I just the whole thing's a mess today. It's just
nobody cares about your thumbnail.
I made my sushi a mess and
be real.
It's all a mess. But yeah, just sitting there in front of the trial was starting to feel kind of normal. It was like like the good old days of watching MSNBC with cosmic urgency.
I wonder if she feels that way. Obviously Karen Reed is definitely relieved, but her life was so routine for so long, and now it's completely different. Did I lose you?
Yeah. No. Mandy filled me with envy. That's probably what you saw. You're like, did I lose you? No, it was just Mandy striking envy right down through all my bones. And yeah, she writes, it's literally 2 hours on a plane. Europe life is the best life. Well, maybe Canada, since America doesn't want us, maybe Europe will take Canada. and then I can be like a European, country hopper.
A cross-continental
Canadians, yes, exactly. Canadians are beloved in abroad, unlike Americans. Alyssa's here. Hi, Alyssa. I want you to know right now. Let me just answer your question right now, okay? We're gonna do the deep dive on the depositions. We're gonna do it. I don't know when. I do hope that I can build a little bit more of an audience who, you know what I mean, like. So tell your friends to come along. Get some people here. Let's get a crowd going. Because I definitely want to get into that, but I want to get into that in the proper circumstances. You know what I'm saying?
Were you ever thinking about doing it like a live recording? Or were you just going to do it for
I think
as
it can
a recording to edit?
I think it can be a combination of both. What I'm really loving and learning about hanging out with people and hanging out with you and doing it this way is like, this is the way I thrive. I think this is the way I make the best content. I think this is the way I'm like the most valuable to most people. I'm working on this educational side. That's going to be a totally different channel. That's going to be more looking at the lens and going, hello, everyone. I'm going to give you 5 good, that kind of stuff. But when it comes to like, I think like, I don't know, just whatever. This kind of, I will call it entertainment for lack of a better term. It's all about you guys. That's how I survive. And I really like it. So it's a very creative place. And I guess that's where I was going with this, is that it's a super creative place that I feel like I'm learning a little bit about how to like work and find a voice in shorts and find a voice in, and then hopefully longer material as well. Mm-hmm. Yes. So that's my hope.
The reason why I was asking about the depositions, right?
Yes.
Like I'm assuming I would do a lot of reading and then you would be like, provide your commentary. So I just don't know whether it would be better if we just like set up at a table. I guess we can discuss this another time.
Yeah.
I think I'm wondering whether anybody would want to see something like that live, whether it's worth attempting.
We're going to plan it out. This is the whole point, right? Like that I'm trying to make is that we're going to plan this all out. We're going to make it all good. And then we are going to execute. And, when the time comes, it's coming. It's 100% going to happen. I think there's also like, I also kind of want to see what's kind of going on with the world around Don's Plum a little bit, because that's changing right now, and it's going to be changing. The book hasn't really done anything yet. Do you know what I mean? It's only, I hope, scratched the surface of what it's going to do. And I mean, if Molly Bloom's book's going to blow up because Toby made her bark like a seal, I'm hoping that somebody's going to hear this book and read this book and realize that it not only confirms what Molly went through, but takes it to another level entirely.
I know. Is it really impossible to like crack the surface of marketing without publicists that are like paid really well to do their jobs?
Well, it's a big part of it.
Because there's so much more in your book than Molly Bloom had in hers in terms of, celebrities acting badly.
Yeah.
So. It's
not just that though. That's the cool thing. It's like I feel like what my book does is I feel like it has close to the Jeanette McCurdy kind of vibe, where it's going into one thing, but it's so much more. Do you know what I mean? Like her thing was about, was about her relationship with her mother, but it really turned into bulimia, and it turned into.
No, I know, but she also had a publicist, and so I'm just wondering, like, is it possible?
Really good one?
Yeah.
I need a publicist.
I know. I wish we had a publicist.
A dreaded publicist. An absolute dreaded.
Why is it dreaded? See?
Oh, there are good ones, right?
You're already like messing with your.
So I have to ask the universe.
You got to manifest, bro. You can't block it.
Please bring to us a lovely publicist. Thank you, universe. Okay, Steven Soderbergh's writing a book. Do you want to know what it's about?
Sweet. What is it?
It's about Jaws. It's the 50th anniversary of Jaws, and he thinks it's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, films ever made. Hard to argue.
Yeah, he's pretty right about that.
Hard to argue. The only reason I wouldn't put it there is because of some of the animatronics can take you out a little bit, and that still does that, and it did it back then even. But is it masterful filmmaking? Utterly.
That might be part of the appeal, though. Because you're like in a
But not what it makes it a masterpiece, in my opinion. What makes it a masterpiece, and I do believe it's a masterpiece, but not the greatest film ever made, just because of it's got a couple of quirks. But performances, the way that Steven Spielberg directed the story was perfection. It may not have been done better, but he's done that a few times. E.T. is perfection. It is a perfectly told story. It's perfectly told. It's a perfectly written story, and it's a perfectly told story, and those two things are uniquely individual things.
Yeah, Close Encounters of the Third Kind was really amazing. He's just really good at like family and kids dynamics and parents,
Yeah.
Like so much of his movies are about like parents who are stressed and shielding their kids from stress, and then kids reacting to stress in the home and how they're all navigating it together. It's great.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how much if he was coming up today, how much just the concept of the cell phone would have like totally stifled any of his creative ideas.
I mean, it changes. It's changed so much in terms of the storytelling. Like I know personally filmmakers who like just want to write in the 90s or in just previous, because it's just having your characters under surveillance really can fucking get in the way of telling suspenseful stories, can get in the way of keeping secrets. It interferes with a lot of what was easily able to, well, not easily, but it reveals much of what was otherwise hidden before the smartphone.
Yeah, the reason I brought it up in the context of Steven Spielberg's movies is like there's so many like family dynamics, right? Like, and they're very different with everybody holding a phone, Yeah. Or like imagine like getting the news about Jaws, right, on your phone in a movie instead of like spoken from the mayor, who's this like quirky personality. Anyway, whatever.
No, you're right. That's a good point. I remember now what it was I wanted to tell you guys. That was really fucking fun. And it's just totally like, this is not going to probably matter to you at all. But I'm going to share it with you anyway. I got to visit with a book club that were, Too Real was the book that they read. And I sat with like, I don't know how many people it was actually. I think it was like eight maybe, about 8 people.
It's literally the coolest fucking thing.
Oh my God.
I can't downplay enough like how, I can't overstate. That's what I meant to say. Edit that out.
Will do.
I can't overstate enough how much we were hoping that this would happen with your book. When you were writing it and I was helping you edit.
Yeah.
We talked about it a lot.
We did.
Like, oh, how awesome would it be if this scene was in a book club? People were reading this scene together. Because you said for a really long time about how experiencing Don's Plum in the theater with a crowd of people was such a perfect experience for that movie, and that's what you had always hoped. And so experiencing that book in a group is like the same thing. It's awesome. I lost you again. You're in the comment section.
No, you didn't.
You got to stay out of the comment section.
Delicate just said that Jaws made her silent scream and pee her pants on the Jaws ride when she was 5.
Yeah, that was a really intense ride for kids.
Really? Where was it?
Universal Studios.
Oh, well, why would I know anything about that?
You got your little tram, right? It takes a little train track and then it goes underneath the water.
Oh.
But
you're like in a submarine?
No, not a submarine. It's the tracks there's like a wall.
It's like an aquarium.
Like a retaining wall.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
Okay. And then you go underneath the water, and so the animatronic Jaws like lunges up at you and splashes you.
Holy shit! Wow, I'm 100% peeing myself too.
It was really cool. They had I can't believe you've never done this before. You've never gone to the Universal Studios rides?
I've never been to Universal Studios.
Oh my God, we are doing this when we get back to LA.
I lived in Los Angeles for 15 years. I never went once.
Dude, the best one ever is the Indiana Jones one, where you like have to outrun a boulder.
Why didn't I go to this?
You're inside this like TV.
It was in my backyard. I used to take buses past it all the time.
No, it's really fun. Well, because it's such a touristy thing to do. If you live there, you don't, like.
It's on Lancashire, right? Is it on Lancashire? Yeah.
I can't remember where it is. Is it?
Yeah, isn't it Lancashire? I think so. Well, I feel stupid that I haven't gone there.
You're on this like little.
Is there an ET ride too?
Yeah, but I don't think they have that one anymore.
What do you get on a bike and what do you do?
I don't think you get on a bike.
Well, shit.
You're inside this little rinky-dink little train car. You're like in a bucket.
This is the... Wait, now I didn't know the Indiana Jones ride. You're confusing things because the Indiana Jones ride, that's at Disneyland. Because I went on that. So that's at Disneyland.
You're probably right. I have got to stop confusing things in this life. I don't.
Yes, and Disney, Guilty says yes,
okay,
it's Disney.
Listen.
Because that one freaked me out because the boulder comes in that one, and yeah, I remember that.
I think I need to submit my.
And then they also do the darts. Remember? No. It's the air. It's like you feel like because it's like the darts.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Dale, I think I need to submit my resignation.
Well, you're gonna get written up, and then we'll talk.
Because we cannot have a podcast called Too Real and have me constantly fibbing about shit I don't know about.
You're not fibbing. You get your facts wrong, and so do I, because I only read headlines.
Okay, wait a second.
What?
What? So now I have to figure out what. Yes, that my memory of that was scrambled. I'm sure.
No, Indiana Jones is definitely at Disneyland because I went on that ride, and I only went to Disneyland.
Okay, but Universal Studios has Jaws. Was I wrong about that too?
It definitely has to be at Universal because it's not at Disneyland. It's in the book. I went to Disneyland.
You should fire me, really. It's like embarrassing at this point.
I went to Disneyland more than once, but I went to Disneyland in the book. Remember? Because of Artie Robb being so kind. Should I get to the next headline, or are we staying on this Jaws all night?
No, I'm like...
Is this going to be Jaws all night?
I'm fixated on this now. Jurassic World, the ride. Universal Studios rides. Transformers, the ride. Never did it.
No,
they have all this new stuff. They have Harry Potter World. They have Fast and Furious. Mario Kart? What? Okay. Well, I've never been on any of these.
Let's go to the next one. Rod Stewart, who everybody listens to,
is
no longer friends with his neighbor.
I'm sorry. This is a headline?
Donald Trump is his neighbor.
Rod Stewart's neighbor is Donald Trump?
No, Rod Stewart's neighbor is Donald Trump. I guess he lives next to Mar-a-Lago. And he's no longer friends with him. He's officially cut his ties.
That's the
He's probably going on tour, and he doesn't want maggots coming because he can't handle it.
Okay, that's the sort of headline that raises more questions than it answers.
I agree. It's why I brought it up. He says, and this is the quote on the headline, and yes, cosmic urgency. I did not read this article. I didn't read any of the articles I'm talking about today because it's just the headlines that entertain me. He says he became another guy. I'm like, when? When did he become another guy? Like, that's the first question that came to my mind with Rod Stewart. He's like, okay, Rod, when did he become another guy? Tell me when. Let me know when the fuck he became another guy.
And what was the guy he was before?
Because this is his third election. When did he become another guy, a different guy altogether? When? Unless you're talking about him being like complete shit and then like a complete, like, total, like, burning in hell piece of shit. I guess he's definitely gotten worse.
Dude, he was tormenting old ladies to evict them in the 80s.
Exactly. When was Donald Trump? I was betrayed by Donald Trump as a person after the book. I bought the book. I read the book. I was 18. I was going to be Donald Trump.
What was the book?
The Art of the Deal.
You read it?
When it came out.
The author of that book has been really funny.
Yeah, probably not so much anymore. I don't even know why I'm talking about this. I'm gonna get evicted.
The author of that book was like, yeah, I wrote it. He didn't write anything.
100%. This doesn't make it a. This doesn't make it a. Make it on. Cosmic Urgency is calling this a courageous segment.
He's right.
I mean, listen. The worst thing they can do is deport me to Canada. Like, the worst thing they can do is kick my ass out of here, and then I got to go to Canada. It's a great place, Canada. You know what I mean? It's like. It's not like I'm going to some place where I'm living in.
That's not the worst thing. The worst thing that could happen is
they put me in jail.
It's worse than that. Yeah.
Poke me with, or just like make me play Donald Trump's board game. I had that too. I owned it. I did. I owned Donald Trump's board game. It was like a Monopoly game.
Is there something I don't know about you, Dale?
Yeah, no, just those things. In other news.
So wait, okay, so this
is too.
Before you knew about him.
Yeah.
And you just knew.
Oh, he said outrageous, not courageous.
His name on a book.
My fucking eyes are.
Oh, that was better.
Yeah.
Before you knew what he was like. Okay.
Who? The Donald?
Yes.
Okay.
And he was just a name on a book and a board game, which apparently you bought.
I bought the board game. Yeah, I bought it brand new. It had the wrapping on it and everything.
Oh, so you were like a real big fan.
I was a fan.
You were a fan.
Were you
trying to get into real estate or something?
Well,
Is
yes.
this what he was to you people?
I did a job interview. I read The Art of the Deal. Listen to this. I did a job interview right after I read The Art of the Deal. And it was a job interview for a collection agency, a bill collection agency, calling up people and harassing them to pay their credit card bills.
Oh, God.
The absolute, like under the nails, horrible job. So I'm interviewing for the job, and I'll never forget this moment because this guy laughed at me, and he should have. He was like, so, and I don't know how. Look at when The Art of the Deal came out. I read it right after that, and then I did this job interview within the same year of finishing that book. And that book, like, being like, holy fuck, I'm going to get to know a banker, and I'm going to change my life. And I'm in this job interview, and the guy says, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I shit you not, I said, building high rises, building executive towers. And he went, something almost came up. Like, part of him, his innards almost came up through him.
Because he's firing you for basically a telemarketing job, right?
And I was sitting there going, yeah, it's a telemarketing job. He's me calling, hey, man, pay your Visa bill. He's like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I'm like, literally building towers for executives to live in my brain. And I told him that's what I was going to do. I'm not shitting you when I wrote in the book. I wasn't shitting anyone when I wrote in the book that, I was always the best at or the biggest of everything. And it literally never actually was the best at anything or really achieved much of anything at all. But I surely believed I would.
Published date
of the Art of the Deal?
November 1987.
I was 17 when I read that shit, and yeah, so that's right. That tracks because it would have been about 18 years old when I did that job interview. So I was 18 years old. Like, talk about wet behind the ears.
Guys, that is how long this guy has been grifting people with these like
he didn't write that
stories
book.
About himself.
He didn't make that game. He was just sitting around fucking counting his daddy's money when that was happening.
He has never rested. He's constantly been grifting. Wake up in the morning, grift.
Yeah. Danny Boyle, he says that he would never make, and this is interesting because this guy never make the Oscar winner Slumdog Millionaire now amid cultural appropriation concerns. And it's just a really interesting thing because it's come up. And, it came up. What's interesting about that is like he says that, and, I'm a Danny Boyle fan, and it's just striking me now that he says that at the same time when Slumdog came out, Indians were freaking out about it, right? They were like
freaking out negative or freaking out positive?
Negative. They were like, in the same way that when Borat did all that shit in Kazakhstan, that Kazakhstanis were like, we're not this is bullshit.
Yeah,
this
what do we do to deserve this?
Yeah, like you can do the same to America, which Jerry Springer, right? I mean, is a good example. But, and I think he's right because it would never work. And by the way, I loved the movie. I am completely insensitive to what's going on in India.
Insensitive?
Well, to the extent that I'm ignorant.
Oh.
So it's hard to be sensitive to something that I'm ignorant about. I mean, I understand abject poverty. I went to Guatemala. I stood in abject poverty. I know abject poverty just from, the 10 days that I was able to, the 10 days I was exposed to it. And let me tell you, man, it's a staggering thing. Like I stood in people's homes where they don't have anything but dirt for floors and where they have it's like made of tin, basically, a tin house. Like, one place that I was in, their house it was taped off because some of it had slid down the hill and they're living in it. I went into their living room. They're sitting there living in it. But despite all that, and again, that's after Slumdog Millionaire Anyway, when that came out, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And, but it was interesting because when it came out, I heard all the shouting, I'm sure you must have as well. You don't remember it?
I remember it going to the award show, but I never watched it. I don't know how I feel about this. Like, a director can't direct a movie because of cultural appropriation.
Well, I think there's a level at which like you can be City of God, which is where you're in and immersed and you're a part of the world, right?
Okay.
Or you can be like Slumdog Millionaire, where you're using it as a backdrop and as almost like a character that is like, I don't know how to put it, but
well, like, I don't know who wrote Slumdog Millionaire, right?
I don't know.
But if that,
let's find out.
Was it a book first? What I'm saying, I don't know much about that movie at all and how it came to be. But I can say that, like,
Simon Beaufoy.
Okay, so is that person... The dog is snoring. Is that person Indian?
He does not appear to be Indian.
Okay, well, yeah, that's interesting.
So there's cultural appropriation.
Well, if he's Indian, I mean, people don't look Indian. Just like, I don't look like I'm half Brazilian, but I am. It's like people don't look.
No, true. He could be, because didn't England colonize that place as well?
Yeah, he could be like third generation, like as
right. Yeah,
Indian as anybody else.
There are many English Indians, right? I would imagine.
So we don't know about this, but
we're everywhere. We English.
I mean, I'm typically like wary of cultural appropriation stuff. Like I thought it was really, really fucking typical that, like, okay, do you remember Straight Outta Compton, that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was written by like half a dozen white people.
Yeah, they got Oscar nominated for it.
I know. They really, really succeeded.
They killed it. Apparently, I haven't seen it. I don't know why I haven't seen that.
And I just think like it is a little weird, but maybe that's who they're buying from. You know what I mean? Like at the studio system, it might be that's the only person who could walk that kind of project through the door.
Well, again, I thought that Slumdog Millionaire, when I saw it, was a good movie.
Like whoever created Slumdog Millionaire, the IP, and whoever had a reason to do that, whether it was because they wanted to honor some Indian whatever
whatever. Yeah, themes and
I'm sure
culture.
they were super stoked to get Danny Boyle attached to the project.
For real.
So I just don't know, like, who's responsible for deciding whether it's cultural appropriation, because a lot of people really want to be elevated to this mainstream, and a lot of the people that are the only ones that the studios are going to trust are these people they've been working with forever, who are a bunch of, like, wealthy white people, So I don't know. Like, if I feel like there's a good reason for concern, but sometimes there's no reason to have rules.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Here's another crazy story for you. The new star of Superman. Have you seen this very handsome man? His name is David Cornsweet.
No.
Cornsweet.
No.
Yes.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, Corenswet. Cornsweet. It's interesting that sweat is in his name and he's so handsome. Yes, Superman star David Cornsweet's grandfather created the Choose Your Own Adventure books. His dad kind of changed my life. I think like that was like really my first like parlay into like wanting to read, was when I was a kid and I began reading those damn books.
If you have a strong Mercury placement in your astrology chart, you were obsessed with those books when you were a kid.
I was obsessed. They were absolutely everything else. Isn't that fucking wild?
Yeah, that's neat.
Is he a Nepo baby then? Is he Nepo, do you think? Because I doubt his dad's books got like, I bet they were made into movies or TV series. Were they? Maybe they were.
Usually it's a Nepo baby situation when they're following in their parents' footsteps in the business. So if he's not involved in publishing, he's like in a completely different branch of entertainment,
Yeah.
So I don't think that counts as a Nepo baby.
It doesn't, right? He's just a guy who went his own way. Like Tim Ray. You know who I'm talking about, Tim Ray? Tim Ray was Leonardo DiCaprio's Oriental Medicine Doctors, OMD. And he's a white dude trained in Germany. Interesting, right? He's an Oriental Medicine doctor trained in Germany. He's a white guy from America who was the son of Nicholas Ray, director of A Streetcar Named Desire.
That's neat.
And Tim Ray was no joke, because when I was, at one point, during Don's Plum, I started losing all this weight. I kept this out of the book, but I started losing all this weight. And I went down to like 130 pounds. I'm just under 6 foot, like a hair under 6 foot. I went down to 130 pounds. Like I was so skinny, it was frightening. Jerry Matters wept looking at me. He was sure that I had some kind of cancer.
Yeah.
So Leo, although we weren't, I don't know if we were friends at this time or not. Doesn't matter. It was Leo's recommendation from way back. And I was like, well, I'll go see Tim Ray. So I go and I see this guy, and he gets me to hang on to these two copper pipes, small little pipes, and they were like nunchuck size. And they went to this other machine, and on this machine was a dish, and in the dish, he put things.
What? That sounds like total bullshit.
That's
like Scientology.
Listen to all this shit. Listen to this though. You got to listen to the story. It's worth it. He put shit, and he put like different various things like oils or herbs or supplements. Just these supplements, and there was a meter that moved, and there was a light on this thing. It was a machine he brought back from Germany. So we go through this process. And then when he finishes it, he says, does Tim Ray, he says, I can't tell you, I can't diagnose you with anything. I believe that you have an amoeba, and I believe that it lives in your kidney. And he said, so, and it's a very dangerous thing. It's eating you alive. He said, we're going to kill it. And so he gave me a series of tinctures and powders, 5 or 6 of them. It was a fortune. It's like $125, $200, something like that. I just remember being, holy fuck, dog, I can't take this. This better work, because it was all my money. Gone. I started gaining weight 3 weeks later. The weight just started coming back. This motherfucker found an amoeba by me holding copper pipes, and he was putting shit in a thing. I asked him about it, and he tried to tell me, and I just lost interest because it just all started flying away like Can you believe this?
It's hard to believe it, but the results don't lie.
I got to interrupt the show because we have a new person who dropped by. Claire has dropped by. Hi, Claire. Very nice to meet you. She got got my book, and she likes it a lot.
Hi, Claire.
And I'm just so excited to hear you say that. So thank you for coming by and for telling me that. That is so kind. We're with a few others who have read the book, and they like it too.
Mandy has helped us with some important information.
What is it?
That the writer of Slumdog Millionaire is a retired Indian diplomat.
There you go. Voila.
And so, okay.
I mean, clearly he's not sitting there like writing this deeply personal movie to a country that he's never stepped foot in, let alone, you know what I mean, live in. So, yeah, it makes sense. Tracks.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's sweet that Danny Boyle is concerned about that. I don't think that it's warranted, really.
I'm going to continue with Claire. Claire says, it made me really sad what happened to you, but made Don's Plum. But you made Don's Plum, which I enjoyed. SM. What does SM mean? So at least that came of it. Well, Claire, you know, I can't even tell you how much that means to me. And you know what? I live through the pain, and I live through the pain every day. And even sometimes when we're doing these lives, I end up in tears over this shit still to this day, even after the book. It's just been a rough damn life, but a lot of great things have come out of this life. Don's Plum came out of this life, and I'm proud of it. And I know that after I'm gone, it will still be here. And for whatever reason I can't explain, that matters to me. And the idea of creating something that lives beyond me is, you know, I don't have children. That is my child. And so I hope it never grows up. And the book, of course. But beyond all that, I have Angela. Angela would never exist in my life were it not for, you know, and would I choose going through all these decades of hell to get to Angela? I mean, it would be a tough choice. It would be a very difficult choice, because having lived through it, I'd say yeah. But if you said I'm going to put you through hell until you get to this beautiful person, I'd probably be like, oh, there's other beautiful people, aren't there? Yeah. Do I have to go through 30 years?
I'm not that special.
You're pretty special.
I'm all right. I mean,
you're pretty great. So. Lots of great things. And then, of course, this moment, this is like one of the best fucking things that can ever happen to me is when somebody comes up and says, hey, I read your book and I loved it. Or I watched your movie and I loved it. You know, I mean, in the end, I wanted to have 10 movies out by now. And, you know, I wanted to be recognized internationally for doing something special and maybe even new. But I'll take being a schlep guy in Georgia who made a little impact, you know, who created a glint in an eye, you know, somewhere. I'm all right with it. I'm thrilled to meet you. Thank you for coming by, Claire. It's a very, very kind thing for you to do. Spend all this time with me. I really do appreciate it.
Claire said they found out about it in like 2016.
Oh, yeah. I started bitching publicly in 2014. I wrote the open letter to Leo in 2014 after running into a big giant obstacle. You read the book, you know. And I just had to do something about it. And I'm so glad I did, because honestly, Don's Plum was dying. It was almost dead. And the version of Don's Plum that was going around was hideous. And so I'm so glad I did what I did. Jerry Metters calls me up on occasion and he says things like, oh, Dale, thank you. Thank you for keeping Don's Plum alive. And I know it's the people who keep it alive. But I'm sitting there like, you know, I was doing compressions on it until they came around, you know? You know what I'm saying?
Chest compressions.
She asked if I will make more movies with Artie Robb. I dream of it. I really do. You know? I mean, I would be excited to make any movie right now. But yeah, I dream of it, you know? If we live long enough, and a few things can align in the universe. You know, I'm such bad news, you know, like I on these lives, for example, I like talk so much shit. Because, you know, I mean, I don't mind not working with people. The problem is that I talk shit about some people, and then it's like, oh, I'm shitting on the whole town. And the truth is I actually want to fight for the whole town. I want people to know that Hollywood is filled with amazing people. Pedro Pascal, I always talk about him because he's easy, low-hanging fruit. I knew that guy for many years. I cooked for the man. I was crazy about him, and I felt like we were very good friends back in the day. And I don't feel like for a minute that man has changed. I don't know him now. I haven't spoken to him in a very long time, well over 10 years. And, for all intents and purposes, it seems to me as though that man is, or at least all signs indicate that he's just as wonderful as he was back then. And he's just a small example of how many wonderful people there are in the world of Hollywood. They're just wonderful. They're all over the place. The problem with Hollywood is that, first of all, it's a highly publicized place. So the worst people you'll ever meet in any other industry, you don't really hear about them. You don't hear about them. Do you know what I mean? Unless what they do is so criminal that they end up, becoming a part of pop culture, like Elizabeth Holmes, for example, and her scam. So, it's
I don't think you have to worry about too much about what you say because, like, Anthony Bourdain was really outspoken.
Did he name people?
What?
Did he name people?
Well, I mean, on his show, yeah.
Did he?
Yeah. I mean, sorry, I was talking about in reference to the sort of things that you talk about here.
Oh, yeah.
Where, you're just sharing your opinion and it might not be,
My big dream is that, and I'm doing all this, I'm doing all this because I hope I can find an audience. I hope the book can find an audience that's large enough to make a movie with. Because that's all you need. The only reason why Leonardo DiCaprio gets to make any movies, why Martin Scorsese gets to make any movies, is because he has an audience. That's it. It's the reason why. If he lost his audience, he would lose his privilege to make movies unless he paid for them himself, which is also a possibility. Or he becomes that guy like Eric Roberts, and he's just in everything, on the sly.
Do you want to hear from the chat?
Before we do, yes. Yeah.
Mandy said, Dale, I missed a few days. Any update on the TikTok drama?
Oh, right. Yeah, the TikTok drama. My goodness. Well, I'm reinstated right now. I could probably go live. Well, let's just see. What time is it?
7:45.
No, I'm still
You're still banned.
I'm still banned. They said
You're such an outlaw, Dale.
I'm an outlaw. They said I said hateful things. They said I had hate speech. Imagine me with hate what? I mean, I can be angry. I can be like ornery.
Yeah, but you don't
like any guy, middle-aged dude.
I think that if you just report somebody for hate speech, they get taken down. I think that that's probably just what people do. Listen, if I was like DiCaprio's paid publicist, I would have like an intern just like hate speech all of your videos. Just like every day, that's part of the daily chores. It's
like you're like a commission salesman. You got to hand in your like, how many videos did you report Dale for?
Yeah, you have a quota of like 10 takedowns every day.
Yeah, like, oh, you're getting bonuses. You got 12 today. Yeah, here's your.
Okay, next one.
Okay.
Guilty Angel said, Dale, your book reads like a screenplay. Great dialogue and exposition.
That's awesome. That's cool. That's exciting. I mean, I like that it. It's weird. I was worried about kind of like being considered more of a screenwriter than a book writer with it. So that was always kind of a concern of mine, really.
No, it worked in your favor.
But I'm going to kill on the dialogue anyway. And, Elmore Leonard wrote a lot of dialogue. I never really read much of him.
Oh, he's great.
But he's shot the dialogue out like crazy. So it's kind of in the style of Elmore Leonard. But yeah, that's cool. I'm a screenwriter first.
Guilty Angel also said, I feel Leo was so combative even from the beginning, that basketball game between you and Leo.
Yeah. I mean, his competitiveness was, look, I mean, I think the theme throughout the book is the competitiveness of Hollywood and the competitiveness of the people in Hollywood, obviously. But like, and it's everywhere, whether it was the basketball game or, just buying somebody a burger. Like, Blake couldn't buy me a burger without first finding a way to humiliate me to do it. It was just the way it kind of went. You know what I mean? He was like particularly cruel in that way. And he's actually a wonderful guy. And if he called me up tomorrow and said, let's hang, I'd be like, let's hang. You gotta wear a mask, bro. But yeah, let's hang, I love Blake Sennett, but he was a reflection of a lot of what was going on around town at the time. You know what I mean?
Excuse me.
Are we boring you,
no,
Angela? Are we boring you?
You fed me an enormous dinner before we started, so I'm feeling a little carb.
We kind of had to stuff it down because I got a late start.
Mandy said to Guilty Angel, "Yay, welcome to the book club."
Yeah,
which is so awesome.
That's pretty fun.
Dr. Susan answered our question about whether they would like the depositions to be read live.
Yeah,
and the answer is yes.
Yeah, I'll read them live. Here, I'll do a line right now, live on this live right here. Just say stop.
Stop.
Oh, jeez, what'd you get? Well, do you recall a conversation about the use of Mr. DiCaprio's name to raise money? Artie Rob, not specifically, but I do know we talked about that. Question, you know that you talked about that with Mr. DiCaprio? Answer, yeah. It wouldn't have been just he and I, but yeah.
Riveting.
Can you believe that? Can you believe they said that? It's actually really interesting questioning right there, because the inference is that we were raising money off of Leo's name without Leo being aware of that, which is absurd.
Yeah, of course.
But of course, there was so many absurdities.
Every director and producer that has ever had him attached to a project does exactly that. I think that he knows that.
By the way, if you haven't liked the live yet today, please do if you are liking the live. And I'm not going to ask you to do something. If you don't like the live, I will ask you not to hit the dislike. Don't hit dislike. Only like. And if you don't like the live, then I don't know. Like, write me, shoot me an email and say, "Man, you suck, dude. What can we do about it?" More from the live before I go to my next.
I was wrong about the Jaws ride too.
What do you mean? Where is it?
I got it confused with a different one.
Is it Six Flags?
No. Cosmic Urgency said, "I don't remember going on a water just jumping up at you. It was horrifying."
It just jumps out at you?
And maybe it didn't go in. Maybe that was a different one.
That's like, you're back in Disneyland. Because there's that one ride in Disneyland where I think you go
underneath and you're like eye level with the water.
Yes, that's Disneyland. I think, isn't that, that's not, is that a small world? No.
Okay, listen. Does it mine your memory for the one where that's got like all of the power lines like sputtering and making this like a staticky electricity noise and the little sparklers? Do you remember that?
You're gonna have to do better. We're going to have to get you to do
I was
better.
A kid, okay?
We're going to need you to like...
I remember it being entertaining and amazing, and I don't remember all the details.
You need like regressive like therapy of some kind.
I'm too much of a liar for too real. I'm so sorry.
Can I just remember the basic things?
You really should replace me.
I'm just going to have to get, we're just going to have to get a third. I've always wanted it. We're going to finally get one.
Oh, you can use Delicate, though. Maybe Delicate could take my place.
A third host.
Delicate said, Angela, did you remember the Bates Motel stop right before Jaws came out? Same ride. And I didn't until just this moment.
Did you really? Is that true?
So Delicate remembers more than me. That was really awesome. Guilty Angel said I had a panic attack on the Indiana Jones ride.
It's a scary ride.
Too many edibles.
Well, there you go. That ride tripped me out, bro. I got crazy on that ride too, man. It fucking tripped me out. I don't know what the hell's going on. By the way, Claire, if you don't know, I also have shorts, which I'm just now starting to publish them. I'm going through these past episodes.
Like shorts, like you're wearing them right now. Like your legs are out.
I have shorts in my drawers. No, Claire, what I'm saying is that I have shorts, YouTube shorts. Just click on the shorts tab. And they're right there. There's like 6 there now, little clips from the past. It's only one episode I've done so far, but I am cutting every day. So I'm going to keep them coming, and I promise to update that daily. Angela has her hands up. Go ahead, Angela. What's your question?
Mandy said, as an Aries, I avoided those choose your own adventure books forever. The anxiety of what might happen because of my choice was too much.
That's really funny.
Textbook Aries.
Oh God, I loved them. I was addicted to them. I don't know how many I read. It had to be, I don't know how many there are.
What was super fun about those is that they never ended. You just had to give up because you could never just choose your own adventure through all of the options.
It was like now it's the equivalent of now when I'm gaming, I have to start over. I just start over because like I would do is I would
talk to a different villager or something.
Yeah, I would go back and start over those books all the time. I'd be like, fuck, I don't know if I like the storyline anymore. I go back and till I like figure on a branch I want to try. And
I can imagine being anxious about that. Like, what if what
did I miss? The FOMO?
Yes, right. Or like, what if you pick the next thing to do and it ends up being lame? Now you've wasted all of that.
Maybe Superman's dad created FOMO.
Maybe.
Probably
what a brilliant idea, though, to come up with it.
Amazing idea. It's just like you sit there and you're like, I wouldn't have done that. Maybe that's the reason. I was like reading it. I was like, I wouldn't have done that. Wish I had a choice. Wait a minute.
Linda, get in here. We're going to be rich.
That's what you said about the paperclip. I love it.
Delicate said, I saw someone a bit ago using the copper pipes to read celebrity stuff. They used the copper pipes to see if Taylor and Blake's friendship would recover.
Wow. What are these copper pipes, man? They worked. This guy is a renowned OMD. And I've got to tell you, man, like you can't, there's no placebo here. I was disappearing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So is it a psychic, like, divination tool?
No, what he said was that that the connection, there's a connection from the palm of your hand, and he gave it a name, some kind of something to do with energy that the machine can decipher the condition of organs. And he said the reason he went with a single-celled amoeba was because of the location of where the trouble was and the result, which was that I was disappearing. So he was like, I believed at that point that you had a parasite, and in all likelihood that parasite was a single-celled amoeba.
And he could identify your kidneys?
As if there's like a duo-celled amoeba. What? Yes, the machine told him that my kidney was not doing well. Or that my kidney was under duress.
Did you ever find out how you might have caught an amoeba?
He said, I probably ate it. Or drank it.
What? Were you eating raw food then?
They kill people, bro, amoebas. They go into your brain and that's it. Have a nice day. Single cell. That's why people are so funny. They just like fucking breathe everything. It's COVID. Just like, do you know what is going in there? Because honestly, it could kill you.
Yeah, I know. Anytime anybody's ever asked Reddit, like those question subs.
Yeah.
And they ask like, what is some like under the radar big threat that people are just not paying enough attention to? And the top voted answer always for like the last like 15 years I've been looking is always germs. Like bacteria, like antibiotic resistant bacteria and stuff.
Yeah. If anyone knows the game Portal or like even Half-Life, there was a musician that they hired to do like the main song for Portal. It's a brilliant song. And he had a song that went viral in like the mid 2000s. And the whole thing is just singing about bacteria. It goes, it's like bacteria, salmonella bacteria. It's just like, and it goes down the list. And he's like, you can't see them, but they're there. Like, it's just all this, like, he scares the shit out of you. He's like, the video is hilarious. But
there was a lady who had this like horrible like hospital experience where it started out where she just like tripped and fell on her front porch and she got a little rock inside her. She skidded on her hands.
Oh shoot. Yes.
She got a little cut.
Okay.
And that's how it started.
Oh.
And she ended up losing her arm. Because of like a flesh-eating disease, just like hanging out in her house.
Wow. Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
That just sounds so...
Wasn't it Paula Abdul almost like lost her entire thumb because she went to a manicurist?
Well, isn't there like a wrestler right now fighting for his life because he got a staph infection?
Oh, yeah, that's...
Askren? No.
Askren.
Askren. Ben Askren.
Yeah.
Former Bellator champ. He got a staph infection and he is fighting for his life right now.
Yeah, it developed into like a pneumonia and he might not survive.
He may not survive. It's just crazy.
Germs, bro.
And we would be rolling when Angela and I took jiu-jitsu together, and we'd be rolling. We'd see guys coming in with staph infection. You can see it. It's like looks like a red hole like on their
it's grody.
on the flesh, and you're just like, man, I can't roll with you, bro. What are you doing?
People are like, oh yeah, this rash, that's nothing.
Oh no, man.
Don't worry, it won't spread. Well, how'd you catch it?
I'm just getting over a staph infection. Are you? Oh my God.
Gym bros, they're pretty gross.
I just lined up this thing that I want to share with you guys.
What is it? What was that racket?
It's just some 90s culture stuff that I want to throw at you in a minute that I lined up for you guys. It's going to be some video entertainment that I'm pretty excited to show you guys. I'm just lining it up right now.
Guilty Angel said, Dale, I love the way you compliment your lovely wife.
Well, she's...
no, don't start again.
A dream come true for me.
Don't keep doing it.
I'll do whatever I want, Angela.
Don't tell me what to do, woman.
Don't tell me what to do, woman. Don't forget who's boss.
Yeah, right.
I love Angela.
Okay, here's a fun question.
I expressed that. Yes.
Mandy is asking us both.
Okay, Mandy.
What's your dream plot line for a movie?
My dream plot line. Wow. It's almost impossible to answer. Do you have an answer for that? My dream plot line. Look, I mean, the movies that really get me the most are the ones that truly move me emotionally. So like whether it's Terms of Endearment or Irreversible. If you haven't seen Irreversible,
don't.
You should see it. It's one of the great films.
Not a date movie.
It's fucking tough to watch. It's
one of the best films that I will never watch again. Once is good enough, and yeah. And you have to recover.
I'll never watch that movie twice.
It's like nightmare stuff.
When I was teaching at UGA, I had a list of movies that everybody had to watch for the semester.
The semester of what?
It was the development of IP and
for producers.
For producers and directors and writers, not just producers. But it was an IP development course, and then and part of what I was teaching was film fluency, right? You got to have film fluency if you're gonna develop movies, you're gonna produce movies. You should kind of know what's been made. You know what I mean? So film fluency, and Irreversible was on my list, of course, because it's brilliant. Gaspar Noé is the director. Honestly, if you haven't seen Irreversible, you should absolutely see it. But in the University of Georgia, and I guess it's true probably for most colleges, but here in the South, lots of religious people. So I was like, look, this is hardcore.
It's like the most intense movie I think that I've ever seen.
So
it's the most intense movie I know that I've ever heard of. And then I watched it and I was like, oh yeah, this is the tops.
But I had
intensity.
I had 30. I think
really horrible.
I had 38 students or something like that. I think, and one took me up on my alternative movie.
Yeah, good.
Which I don't remember what it was, but it was like you might as well call it Little House on the Prairie. Like I set up. I was like,
no, I can't remember what it was either.
Irreversible, or it was a good movie. It was a really good
one,
movie.
Yeah.
I'm only gonna recommend good movies for sure.
Anyway, were you about to answer the question that Mandy posed, which is what's your dream plot line for a movie?
I can't answer that specifically beyond saying that what I love is movies that completely wreck you or restore you or inspire you emotionally. Those are my favorite. And I love good plot-driven movies. Like, I think the best plot-driven movie I've ever seen in terms of just plot and the way it was executed in writing was probably The Matrix. I don't know if there's another one that was more better. I'd probably go with The Matrix.
The weird snores over here.
I think that would be my closest thing to the ultimate plot.
What is?
The Matrix.
I didn't know you liked that movie that much.
Oh, I just can't believe it was. It's just brilliant. Should have won Oscars.
I haven't heard you talk about it very much.
When I went to Denmark, and I found out it was Lars' favorite movie at the moment, and he was holding screenings. They were watching it on a loop in their theater. Yeah. They fucking loved it. Which, heck yeah. Heck yeah. I'm gonna check. If you remind me to check up on Tanner after this, I just want to give him a shout out, see if he's all right.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to answer that question, if it's cool.
Oh, we are matching tonight. Stefan just mentioned we're matching.
Matchy.
We got the same color.
Do you want to hear what's my dream plotline for a movie?
What's your dream plotline? Of course. The question was directed at both of us. I'm obviously more important than you, but I want to know. I still want to know.
That's true. It's that's a tough one too, because I like them so much. I think all the movies that I have gravitated to are the kind that have like open endings, or maybe they're kind of grim. I'm really into maybe it's a sign of the times, but I'm really into like post-apocalyptic movies and books right now. Like I'm trying to collect them all, and so I feel like something set in the post-apocalypse. One of my very favorite movies is The Host, South Korean movie. Mm-hmm. And it's so inventive because it's a monster movie, but it's fundamentally a movie about a family trying to stay together. You know, a child gets kidnapped by the monster, and the whole movie is about the family just completely distraught and trying to get her back. And I just feel like if that's the central part of the story of the movie, Korean movies have this like central, like the family is the main objective, like keeping the family together and getting the family back together. I feel like if you put that in any scenario, it always works. So I feel like something about a family trying to get back together or stay together in the post-apocalypse would be pretty fun. Give them to me. Any of those.
I mean, that's kind of the road in a way, you know. I mean, it's a two-person family, but it's still, you know. My favorite post-apocalyptic book that I have read in my life is probably Oryx and Crake.
Oh, yeah, she's really good.
By the great Margaret Atwood.
Margaret Atwood's amazing.
She is. And that book is amazing. And it's actually, I've read 2 of the 3. And the third is the first book by a completely different POV, which is pretty interesting. The first story. That
is super cool when authors do that.
Yeah.
We were talking the other day about Titanic and about why either of us didn't like that movie.
Well, it goes too far to say I didn't like it. I just didn't think that it deserved the. I didn't get why it was that big of a deal. Like I thought it was like a very good piece of filmmaking. I thought that the writing knocked it down a bunch in terms of like it just wasn't great writing.
I kind of identified that. I feel like it's like super common in American movies where they have the central story is a love story between 2 people. And you made a really good point where like the love story in Titanic isn't even like a Romeo and Juliet where they've known each other their whole lives. Like they literally just meet. And I'm supposed to think
days old.
And I'm supposed to think that she's like risking her life for this guy who she just met. I mean, I guess that's the appeal of the story.
And that he would give his just like
I know.
After 5 days he's like not even going to go look for another raft. He's like, I just want to see you one last time. Well, it just I mean, it was lovely. I can get why everybody cried, and he was pretty, and the way he was so blue, and yeah.
Well, like I can't pretend to like have a better idea than James Cameron, and obviously it's like an incredibly successful movie.
We're being critical of him. We're not trying to compete with him.
So I'm like talking out of my ass, but I feel like it would have been a much better movie if it was about a family trying to survive, because that really ups the stakes. Like I don't care about this like love interest that she just met. And I definitely don't understand why she's still talking about him 80 years later or however long.
Well, that's the best point.
40 years later.
The best point
is
what I mean? She's survived the Titanic at this point.
She's moved on with her life. She's had like a family, She
was in her 20s.
Yeah.
She's had a whole life.
Yeah, like 60 years since.
60 years has passed.
Still obsessed with this dude.
Certainly that's going to be a story to tell, but to be grasping this thing and throw it back into the sea and like.
However,
if it was did she not have any kids? Where are the kids at?
If it was her parents, her husband, her children, it would make a ton more sense that she would just like never let it go, and that she would risk it all in order to save them and remain with them for even just 20 minutes longer while the ship sank. So it's just like, I just don't know why the movie Armageddon was like that too. Like nobody in that story, nobody in the lead roles ever had a family they cared about. Okay. It was always like some love interest. And I just feel like that's.
Cosmic Urgency is saying it's a melodrama.
Like I said, we're wrong on this podcast.
It's called suspension of disbelief. You want me to believe that somebody can fall in love to that extent within 5 days, and I don't.
I don't know.
I don't.
She literally gets into a lifeboat and then climbs back onto the ship.
Yes. No.
She gets like a coveted spot that not everybody. There's like only a fraction of people get onto a lifeboat. She gets on it and then she climbs out of it. She could fall to her death right then. She climbs out of
the boat. It's the same thing with chasing the guy with the gun. The guy with the gun is chasing that guy on a sinking boat. It's a sinking boat. It's a sinking fucking boat. Everybody's dying all around you. It's a sinking boat.
You're going to chase a guy with a gun?
You're going to chase the guy with the gun.
You're all going to die.
Every one of you are fucking dying. You're getting out of the thing that's going to save you to go chase after a guy so you can die together? What the fuck is that? I didn't buy it. I'm sorry. I didn't buy it.
But she would do that. She would do that for her husband.
For sure.
Right?
Or her child.
Or her child. Or her parents.
Absolutely.
Or like, you know?
Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. But for the guy she just met, that's kind of like I thought I was going to go somewhere, but no, like a situation.
But circumstances have changed. The boat is sinking.
And then, fucking all these years later, she's going back to return the necklace to the sea. And I just didn't buy any of that melodrama whatsoever. And listen, man, I'm all down with melodrama. I got melodrama all over my movie. I got melodrama in my book. I got melodrama in my fucking life. But she got out of a boat to get onto a sinking boat that eventually killed 1,500 people. So it's like more like a Darwin Award to me than I mean, you see what you pull out of me, Cosmic?
Cos?
Cos. I'm gonna call you Cos. See what you pull out of me, Cos? It's kind of like Cuz. All right, we'll get back to the chat. I got a couple more things for you. Sam Rockwell.
Hey, we're not done with the chat.
Never mind.
Claire is saying...
Just think Sam. Sammy Sam.
I always think of Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
He's the greatest. Claire is asking, would you ever turn what happened into a true life story like Molly's Game or The Social Network? It feels similar.
Yes. I pray it comes to pass. There's a producer looking at it right now. He's a total like a B-movie producer too, so I think it's just like perfect match. That's because Robert Altman, he's no longer with us. If Robert Altman was alive, I would say it's a Robert Altman movie. You know what I mean?
Do you understand what this is? Claire said, also, you wrote the hot guy from FBI as the ultimate friend. Oh,
Jeremy Sisto.
Jeremy Sisto.
Yeah.
He's the hot guy from FBI? That's so great.
He's a hot guy. He's a pretty boy. Well, I love.
Claire says he sounds so cool.
I loved Jeremy Sisto and his sister, Meadow Sisto. I love them very dearly, and they were ultimately good to me, even if they abandoned our friendship like everybody else did. But I don't think that they bailed on me because of Leo. I know they didn't bail on me because of Leo. I had taken so much of a reputation, like a rap to my reputation, like it was ridiculous. Like I got blamed for everything.
Yeah, it's easy to do.
Like I got blamed for everything.
It's easier than everybody having to figure out who's really to blame.
I wrecked Don's Plum according to everybody. I wrecked my own movie.
It's just amazing that it worked that way.
Yeah.
Because you think about it for just 2 seconds, It's your film. They're the ones responsible for blocking it. And you're somehow responsible? It's weird. Okay. Delicate, okay. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with
Delicate
you.
said you should clip some Baldoni content and see if it goes viral.
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna go crazy on that. Well, we're gonna do we're gonna do that jump in, the Baldoni jump in, big time. But I haven't gone viral in a long time, bro.
That's a funny thing to say.
Well, on TikTok I went viral a few times, but it wasn't really me. It was like Don's Plum and whatever the book content. But we did pull down millions of views. It truly went viral. Yeah.
Cosmic Urgency is talking about that Universal Studios ride.
Okay.
Said the earthquake part of the ride was closed because it was after Northridge. The cowards. They just had an earthquake and they have to close down the earthquake part of the ride. That was so entertaining. So you didn't go to that, right? You didn't experience that?
I've never been, no.
Okay, so that was Universal, not Disney. Yeah, because Disney wouldn't have done that. That wouldn't have been an IP. But you're in this little tram car and you go into this like what they built as like a little subway, and then there's an earthquake and the whole like wall falls over and everything gets tilted. Your train tracks get tilted and you got to go the rest of the way. And there's like, like that's where the sputtering cords with all this static and the little sparklers and stuff. It's dramatic.
So dramatic.
That's crazy they closed it after the Northridge earthquake.
Yeah, it was gone then when I got there, because I got there like 6 months after Northridge, or maybe it was a year. When was Northridge?
94.
Well, I got there in 94, so it was like January of 94 then? I think it was 93.
I think it was February. I gotta look it up.
Yeah, if it was that early.
Mandy said, we have a lady in the UK who reads asparagus to foretell things. She comes on British morning news shows every year reading asparagus.
Well,
I love that for you guys.
What's so funny about that is that, if you're somebody who believes in oracles, in the divine in that way, then it's entirely true that can happen.
Oh yeah, that's true. When people are into divination, they believe that however you ask the oracle to come through, it will. So it will use whatever tool you're using. That's why, like, it doesn't matter if you think that, reading like the tea, what is it? Like reading tea leaves or whatever.
Yeah, tea leaves. Yeah.
It doesn't matter because the oracle is going to reach through however you're trying to.
If you're connected, got a Ouija board, you got a piece of asparagus, whatever it is. If you're talking to the divine.
Asparagus is so unique, though. I've never heard that one before.
If we make a bunch of money, should I get hair transplants? What do you think?
Maybe you should consult an oracle about it.
All right.
Get your asparagus read.
Northridge earthquake was the day after my birthday, 1994. January 17th. So, by the way, I just dropped my birthday, January 16th. Go ahead and put that in your calendars. All right?
I'm going to need you guys to bring your party hats.
Go ahead and put that in your calendars because it's going to be a really big day January 2026. It's a big one.
Oh, Stefan's with us.
I know. Okay.
Sorry, you said that?
We've interacted with him several times.
I'm sorry.
It's like you're having an Alzheimer's moment.
No, I'm just reading. I'm scrolling down through the comments, and I didn't realize you were talking to somebody
Dr.
else.
Susan loves asparagus. Well, it's also an oracle, so you can't eat your Ouija board. You know what I'm saying? No, my birthday is not January 1st. My birthday is January 16, day after Martin Luther King, and day before the Northridge earthquake in 1994.
Mandy is asking, have you read The Grace Year?
No.
It's like if The Handmaid's Tale had a baby. Excuse the pun, LOL.
Oh, yeah, that is a pun. No, I have not. That sounds like an interesting book for sure. Will you? I think you have another one from Delicate. I hope you're tracking these.
Yeah, well, I'm scrolling from the top down.
I got to get through this. Beloved, it's dragging me.
Stefan said that my Titanic take is my only bad take. It's such a fun movie.
It's a fun movie.
I have a lot of bad takes, so you're wrong about that.
It's a fun movie. I'll give it a fun movie. Like I understand why people were fucking chomping down the popcorn.
It's a super fun movie. I just don't care about the love story in it. And I don't know why anybody does.
All I'm saying is that what separates it from being a great movie is the writing. That's all I'm saying. Like James Cameron's a master filmmaker and he doesn't need my fucking endorsement. Do you know what I mean? But
Mandy's being hilarious again, as always.
But the reality is that the writing is not a big fucking deal with his work, in my opinion. And yeah, I'd have probably taken a whole different love story approach. But he's a sap. I'm a sap. Whatever. We're Canadian.
Mandy's a sap too.
What'd she say?
She said, "I've seen Titanic 100 times, and after the first watch, every time after I turn it off after the car scene, and they live happily ever after in my head. Okay, bye."
There you go. See what I'm saying? Like now you got something. Now you're onto something. That's like that. What do they call that? Like, it's just like historical fiction, right? Titanic. That's a good one. No one's ever done that. Titanic doesn't sink.
They arrive. Isn't there a conspiracy theory that the Titanic was sunk on purpose because there's a lot of like captains of industry on the boat?
There was that.
So
that's clearly a conspiracy theory. But the conspiracy theory is that they didn't hit a iceberg at all. That they were shot
deliberately
down. They
sunk?
were shot down. But that's just definitely not true.
Delicate said that was Aaliyah's birthday. Your birthday.
Oh really?
Oh no, wait. Maybe she's
January 17th.
Yeah, maybe. Mandy said also, that everyone falls into one of two categories where asparagus makes your pee smell or not.
Oh, yeah?
I think.
Oh, yeah, no. Aaliyah was born on January 16th, 1979. You're lucky.
I think Mandy's comment is, I think it's whether you have the genetic disposition to smell that or whether you don't. I don't know whether it makes...
What are we smelling?
I can't remember.
God, Aaliyah was beautiful.
Leo was beautiful?
Aaliyah was beautiful.
Aaliyah was beautiful.
Stunning. Leo was beautiful. Yeah, I know you don't think so, but you know, he was an effeminate male, but he was beautiful. He had beautiful lines. He's a fucking hamhead now.
I never thought that he was an unattractive person.
I can understand that.
I understand him in the minority there.
I can understand the taste bit, you know.
Mandy said, Buenas noches from Spain, guys.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Sleep well. Thank you for coming with us. So great to be with you.
Have fun waking up in Spain tomorrow.
Look for the shorts, and maybe some of what you miss will be there. There's not what you're missing. You're missing, you know, come. Good night.
Oh, okay. So Guilty Angel says, I agree with Angela. The story should have been focused around the class issues. See?
I don't disagree.
Booyah.
I agree with you. I obviously don't, you know. Hey, let's go on to the next topic, which is Sam Rockwell. He says that he regrets never doing a movie with his friend Philip Seymour Hoffman before his death. And I was just thinking about all these, like, you know, you get to this age where, you know, you start really kind of vocalizing the regrets. You live with them. And then I think there comes this time when you feel like you have to get them out. You have to, like, speak them into the world and, like, almost get forgiveness for it. Or, like, but, you know, Martha Plimpton, we covered Martha Plimpton, who was reminiscing in an interview about her first love. They had a 4-year relationship, she and River Phoenix. And they weren't dating when he died. That was Samantha Mathis. But and then you have Sam Rockwell, and he's talking about. There's been a lot of reminiscing going on in the headlines these last few days.
I can explain.
Tell me.
It was only very recently that celebrities started to go on podcasts where they talk about the deep stuff. I think that Marc Maron had a lot to do with that, because he would specifically have celebrities on to talk about the deep stuff on his podcast.
Give me the deep stuff.
He just ended his podcast recently, but everybody's been doing the same thing. So there's a lot of like actors and stuff who will just, like, it's just like casual therapy sessions. And I don't think that there was an opportunity for celebrities to ever do that prior to podcasts being a thing. Like, it's not like they were going to go on, like, you know, sometimes they would have articles written in the, you know, big interviews or something where they would talk about deep stuff, but it was really curated by their publicists and not just them just talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a really relatively.
No, I agree.
that
certainly has to be true for some of it. That definitely has to be true for some. I wonder if there's something more astrological happening, where it's like there's this, you know, is something about to retrograde, or maybe this is all coming after that Venus in retrograde, or, you know, and like this is just like we're now getting it, you know, it's kind of flowing toward us. But there's just a lot of people reminiscing on things that are like painful regrets.
Well, if there is an astrological thing to do with that, it would be Neptune conjunct Saturn, which is going on repeatedly.
Well, that's very interesting, actually.
Because Neptune covers fame and famous people, and also like delusions and idealism and all the other things. Like, fame is only what we assign it. It's kind of like a delusional concept. And then Saturn is the stark reality and the barriers and the heaviness. And so it's just interesting that there's that conjunction, and famous people are talking about their heavy experiences and their regrets and stuff. It's just very Saturnian effect on Neptune. IMO.
It's a very interesting theory for sure. Claire's asking which of the actors in Don's Plum would I work with or never work with again. I think the ones I'd never work with again are fairly obvious. The 4 guys, I would never work with them again ever.
Who?
Leo, Scott, Toby, Kevin, Ethan, so 5. I would never work with Heather McComb again. And then I would say that's probably it. I think I would work with everyone again. Who I would crave to work with again would be Jenny Lewis above all of them. I would love to write something for her or with her.
Would you want to work with Jeremy Sisto again?
Yes. I feel like I could give Jeremy Sisto the best role of his career. I truly believe that. I also, part of what makes me believe that is I believe that I have the kind of connection to him that would bring out his best performance. I don't think that has ever been done to this date that I have seen. And I'm just going to assume that that's true because most of his work is now in network television, where it's very rare that you're going to be able to pull out of network television. There's a very distinction. It's an important distinction. We're not talking about, Breaking Bad here, right? We're talking about what is he on, Fox or
FBI,
ABC, I guess, or something. He's on one of those big ass networks because a paycheck, bro, is fucking crazy, dude. He probably makes, I mean, he's making millions a year, you know. So he took the money, and I would love to bring him back to like being directed artfully. You know, I know that he's still interested in all that. So who knows? Maybe the time will come. There might come a time when people are like, wow, Dale can just really be who he is and still be the artist he is, and both can exist. I can loathe the darkness of Hollywood, and I want to be able to do that. And if I can't, I'd rather not work there then. If I can't openly say that Mark Wahlberg doesn't deserve my time of day because he nearly killed a man over being a racist, I don't, that's just me. I should be entitled to feel that way. And I don't mind being public about it at all.
You would not be the only person in Hollywood that loathes the dark side of Hollywood. I'm sure that
Correct.
Everybody that is currently succeeding there is having a real hard time, really struggling to navigate all the challenges that it puts in front of them.
Absolutely.
Moral, whatever. Social challenges. Like having to do business with people who are just like despicable, I'm sure is really hard, and they would prefer not to have to do that.
So, so just Sam Rockwell, sitting there thinking about his friend Seymour Hoffman and kind of missing the opportunity to work. And it's what's so interesting about this regret that he has is that what happens when you get older, at least this is my experience, it seems that you realize you kind of look back at the no's or the times you ignored it, the times you turned your head away from something you wanted, you loved. And I was thinking about this earlier. I was listening to what I think to be an absolute masterpiece by Taylor Swift in Folklore. And I was walking our dog, and it was like 6 a.m, and I had my headphones on, and she was loud, and I was like feeling it, dude. Like I was feeling every word out of her mouth, And I was thinking about how what distinguishes most artists from people who want to be artists is that when artists are inspired, they do something with it. They do something in the moment. Do you know what I mean? Even if in that moment all it is taking everything that you love in this moment of inspiration and you're boxing it up for later. You're remembering it. You're remembering to remember it later. Do you know what I mean? But the ultimate artist is inspired and then does something, actually writes something down. And I think that like if there's like advice that you could give to somebody who's trying to get started, it would be to act on inspiration. Don't question it. And I think that's like, I don't know how I ended up on this, but yeah, well, because Sam Rockwell is walking around with fucking regrets, and that means that he had thought about working with Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Philip Seymour Hoffman thought about working with Sam Rockwell. They had these conversations going on. They had this desire to be together and to work together and to share their genius together as artists, and they didn't fucking do it. And there was a spark, an ember of inspiration, and they doused it with doubt or water or fear or something, and they didn't fucking do it. And it's antithetical to art. It's antithetical to the artist, the artistic way. And it doesn't mean that you're going to always be able to act on something that's inspirational. You're not going to always fill it up. But when it comes, you have to try. You have to engage with it. You have to embrace the inspiration. You have to actually do something with it. Then, in the moment, you must. And I think that that's what creates the spark, the energy, the memory, the ability, the communication internally and to the ether. And it's what's opening the door, and it's what opens the doors for us to create. I really believe that. And I believe that the difference between, dealing with people who are like part of what I bring to the table when I work with people one-on-one is the inspiration part of it, and giving them the wherewithal, not just the inspiration, but the wherewithal to take that inspiration and apply it practically to whatever it is that they're doing, whether it's writing, directing, whatever it might be. So when I these regrets, it's, Martha Plimpton's a little different because Martha Plimpton lost her first love, and all she can do is miss him and live every day with his memory. But Sam Rockwell, he sits there on some occasions apparently And he has a conversation with himself about why didn't we do it? Why didn't we fucking do it? And that's because you denied the inspiration when it was there. You had to have.
Well, when Sam Rockwell hears this, it might make him feel more regretful. So what do you say to people who shouldn't hold on to regrets?
I think that, I don't know, I didn't read the article, but maybe Sam Rockwell says in the article, so act upon these things. Because this is what we get to, this is the benefit of retrospect, that we get to kind of pass on to anybody. But retrospect doesn't mean that, it's not going to, that inspiration or those opportunities aren't going to come later in life, right? This doesn't mean there's some kind of exclusivity to youth here. It just means that when inspiration comes, act on it. If the inspiration is to call somebody and tell them you love them, if the inspiration is to sit down and write something that you thought of, if the inspiration is to do something lyrically, if the inspiration is to gift something to somebody, it doesn't matter what it is, you have to fucking act on it. And that's what's going to start opening doors in your life to live an inspired life. And I believe that. I believe that part of the restrictions that people live by are the ones that they impose upon themselves. In particular, the amount, it's almost effort that they put in to extinguish their own goddamn dreams. And they'll do that with excuse after excuse, or I got to go to work, or I'm too tired after work, or whatever it is. And what I think most people don't understand is that the act of inspiration, the acting upon your inspiration, it only opens up the door. It doesn't mean that you're going to be sitting there, burdened by this inspiration and how it's going to might separate you from whatever time with your children, or it's going to dilute your attention or focus on your job, and then that might jeopardize things. None of that is a reality, or whatever other excuse you might make to prevent you from pursuing what inspires you most in this lifetime. And so then you get to Sam Rockwell's age, or older, and you just look back and you're like, shit, I could have done this, I could have told him that, I could have. And you don't have to live that way. You can actually act upon your inspiration. And if you truly want something in your life, whatever it is, if it's art, if it's love, if it's money, there are these moments, these sparks, they come. And if you don't take them, like all other sparks, they just go away.
Okay, but what do you say to people who should maybe let go of their guilty feeling for the ships that did sail? Well, you're talking a lot in retrospect, and I think that that's where these people are thinking, right? And I don't know that it's so healthy to always to think about what could have happened in the past.
Well, if it's nothing more, if it's not interesting, I do. I think he's offering. I mean, he's inspired me to think about those moments that I've missed, and as a warning to not miss future moments of inspiration. Okay,
but so you don't want to answer that question?
I'm sorry. Can you rephrase the question?
Well, I think everybody agrees that it's not entirely useful to be thinking constantly or even frequently about the things that you didn't do in the past, or things that could have been that didn't come to pass.
I mean, that's it. To me, that's trying to deny human nature. You're going to look back on your life, and you're going to feel regrets, and you're also going to feel pride, hopefully, and you're also going to feel, you might even feel like neutral Switzerland on some of the things when you look back on them. Maybe things that you thought were important back then that now you look back on them and they're not so important. So, I think, I think it's important for us to. I think it's the exact opposite. I think looking at our past is valuable, and the part of the reason why, one of the things I love about watching at least season 1 of Squid Games is that the Korean culture and the Asian culture in general, and how much reverence they have and respect they have for elders. And what elders bring is this great experience, and we don't get the benefit of that in most of our Western.
No, but you're not talking. You're talking about it in the context of the past. I'm talking about it in the context of regrets, because that's what you're saying that he is expressing as regrets, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you're saying that he should make a bigger deal of the things that he missed,
because
he should have caught inspiration and he should have acted on his.
I'm not saying anything like that. No, I'm saying I'm talking about what can be learned from his regret. Clearly. So I'm saying, if you feel inspiration, act upon it. He was inspired and he didn't act upon it, and now he has a regret, right? So his regret that he offers the world within it is a gem, a jewel of wisdom that can help you mitigate regrets as you get older. And the regret is that it's like it's easy to say I regret not working with Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Don't we all?
The real regret is the real.
I would have liked to work with Philip Seymour Hoffman when I had the chance.
Did you have the chance?
No, of course not.
Oh. If you feel
it's just really relatable that he might say that,
Yeah, if you feel regret, then that means you had the inspiration, and if you had the inspiration, then you didn't act on it. And so where I was going was that clearly, if you have inspiration, try to act on it so that you can mitigate the amount of regrets that you have in your life.
Claire said, "In 20 years, none of this will matter." In quotes.
Exactly. Exactly. Huh? I thought it was a good topic. I hope some of you enjoyed that topic, because for me it's very meaningful, and it has less to do with spending time holding yourself back by your past, and
yes,
more to do with understanding your past, understanding what was missed or why it was missed, and then being able to mitigate in the future, or being able to pass that on. Like, that those words are so valuable to actors who are sitting there now, maybe Timothy Chalamet and some other of his peer. They're sitting around and they're talking. Yeah, we gotta work together, bro. Whatever, I'm so busy, man. I'm thinking about playing Jim Morrison. And instead they're not like acting on something that 30 years from now or whatever, they're going to be sitting around going, damn it, fuck, because it goes fast. It goes faster than a lot of people think. I mean, most people in their 20s know, because they're starting to wake up and they're like, fuck, I'm almost 30. I got no kids and no money. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? In exciting movie announcement news, I think it's exciting. Russell Crowe joins Henry Cavill in the Highlander reboot. I think that's a great piece of casting. I'm super excited about the Highlander.
I'm really glad that Henry Cavill...
Did you see the first one?
No. I'm really glad that Henry Cavill gets another shot at a fantasy, because he was so like... Wasn't the whole reason why he was like let go of The Witcher was because he was so into the character. Like, he'd done so much homework and he developed such a wonderful character that was based on the original IP, and they wanted to go in another direction and he was protesting that. He really wanted to honor the original source material.
Yeah.
I think that this is so amazing that they're giving him a shot. And I hope that the director and, the filmmakers that chose him for this were like, yes, channel whatever you were doing there, do it here. It's so great.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I love that. I love that he's going after these difficult, like these interesting IPs. I love that he has these, he's a gamer. And
I love it too. It's great.
The Highlander is like definitely.
See, we need to use our nerds for all of their nerddom. It's like we all benefit when they like get to go full nerd on these projects.
For sure. Guilty Angel said that she loved that I beat Leo in the second game of basketball. Ha, Leo! Remember that? Probably don't, because you're too busy living the life of dreams. Don McLean, do you know who that is?
Yes.
Is it Don McLean or is it Don McLean?
I think it's McLean.
I think it's Don McLean, and that's why I said it was McLean, Texas. It's because of his name. And you were right, because it's McLean, Texas.
Okay, so am I right this time?
I don't know, because I think it's Don McLean. Don McLean thinks that Weird Al Yankovic's Star Wars parody of, have you heard it? Oh, it's hilarious. Of American Pie is better than the original.
Why does Don McLean talk so much?
I got to tell my Don McLean story. It's really brief, but he's a guy who it's so interesting because he was a guy who I saw at a fair. He was performing at a fair and there was almost nobody there. And I went to see him because, of course, American Pie.
Which is a song, in case you guys don't know, is like massive.
Bye, Miss American Pie.
Like one hit wonder.
To the levee, but the levee was dry. Come on, you know that song.
My mom had that record, and there was like 2 other songs that were pretty good on that record, but that was like massive, so huge.
So I saw him at a fair, and the fair was empty. I mean, there was like I don't know. I mean, a couple hundred people tops. I couldn't believe it. I was like,
he must have thought he was going to be like the next Bob Dylan.
It was like when I saw Cheap Trick in the same situation, but it wasn't. There was more people at Cheap Trick. It was like maybe a couple thousand, but I was like, a couple thousand people. This is Cheap Trick.
I know. I had that experience in California. There was like Robbie Krieger from The Doors.
I know he is.
Played at like one of these fairs, and there was nobody in the audience. I was like, don't you guys know who he is?
Well,
I was like riveted the whole time, and nobody cared.
So he was Don McLean. He was he had a huge impact on me because he made me think about regrets. This is another like regret thing, because here he is talking about, first of all, that song's a masterpiece. It's just overplayed. But there was this point in between songs where he said, this is a song I wrote fairly recently. I'm obviously going to paraphrase here, but he said, this is a song I wrote, fairly recently. Song about a guy who had it all. He had fame, he had money, he had everything that he'd ever dreamed of. But he didn't really know it. He didn't know it when it was there, and he kind of just let it all slip away. And this is a song about a guy who I don't know if he ever gets it back. He knows now that he'll never let it go again. And I was sitting there, in the bleachers, and I just somehow found a way to slump in them. I was just like, Jesus Christ. I couldn't believe it. I was just like, damn, he devastated me in one moment. It was like in one moment, I was like, oh my God, bro.
You like put down your cotton candy and your like corn dog, and you're like, I'm not even hungry anymore.
I'm rolling up to see a legend, like I'm like here to see a legend. I'm here to see the great Don McLean, the guy who wrote one of the greatest fucking, folk rock songs of all time. And the dude was just absolutely crushed in life. I was just blown away.
Stefan said, it sounds like you're saying Don the Clean.
Don the Clean.
Like a dude who's famous for good hygiene.
I got a really big entertaining thing I want to do here momentarily. I was saving for the end of the live, so stick around because I got something really fun.
Stick around.
Stick around. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. By the way, for those of you who don't know, this live is brought to you by Too Real, a Hollywood memoir. If you want to take a trip back to the 90s and get fucked over by a big movie star, this book is for you. All right. Remember the time when Cosmic Urgency said I should have called it Leo Ruined My Life and I got offended? I just remembered. Do you remember when I talked about Tony Kaye? Do you remember with all this stuff with Justin Baldoni talking about his director's cut?
Justin Baldoni, who has never heard of the concept of a director's cut, by the way.
So
he doesn't know that there's such thing as a studio cut, and that sometimes the director gets a director's cut.
Which, like, you know what? That's fine. Maybe you don't know about that, but that's how it is, son.
That's what you should know before you file a stupid lawsuit.
So, he's fucking whining Justin Baldoni, and then all the Team Baldoni, as they like to call themselves, they're all fucking, he's the director of the film, and he gets to decide what the cut is, which is completely not true.
Well, also he admitted in a message that the final cut was 97% his cut.
Well, okay.
He wants $400 million for 3% of his film apparently have been stolen from him. Stupid.
So when all this broke out of all this shit, I said, well, he's full of shit. He doesn't get to decide the final cut. The studio does. And that's why we have a thing called director's cut. You remember all these things that I said about Justin Baldoni and Team Baldoni being off their ass about that and so many other things. And one of the examples I brought up was American History X and the director Tony Kaye. Remember that? Right? So Tony Kaye, pardon me while I take a sip because I'm getting the cue.
I didn't cue you.
You didn't?
No.
Well, you led me to the trough. So, Tony Kaye, he directed American History X, and I forget what the studio was, Disney or fucking, I don't know who the fuck it was. It was Warner Brothers. I don't know, whoever it was. They didn't like his cut, and so they cut the film the way they liked the cut. And I loved that movie. I don't know if you liked that movie. I thought it was a great movie.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
And he freaked out. He lost his shit. He took out ad after ad, writing open letters to each of the cast members, lobbying for support for them to come with him and kind of rebuke
confront
the studio and confront the studio and force the studio into his cut. And of course, none of the actors reciprocated. It was truly embarrassing. And Tony Kaye really took like what was supposed to be a movie that was going to really jump his career into a massive, into the, the stratosphere. Instead, it was an embarrassment in Hollywood.
Yeah, he fucking biffed it too. It's like That movie definitely would have led to other really great opportunities.
And I mean, he still works, and he's worked the whole time and all this stuff. But he was about to go into that upper echelon. He was about to be that guy who had control over it. Well, he is now speaking about History X now. He's saying American History X is a movie he still thinks about on a regular basis, and that he would like to listen to this. He would like to get to release a director's cut.
Wait, so why didn't he?
What the fuck, dude? Here's a guy who's begging, like he literally like irreparably harms his career, embarrasses himself in front of the whole town while he's doing it. He begs a bunch of movie stars who have no power, who do not have the ability to convince a studio to change the cut, because all the studio cares about is money and which cut they think is gonna bring people, bring the recommend C's, right? Get butts in seats. That's all they fucking care about. They don't care about your story ideas. They don't care about any of that. They only care about whether or not they can make money from it. That's it. That's how it is. It's a grim reality, but it's the reality. And Tony Kaye was in a position to allow that movie to come out and start live. First of all, he should have just put the director's cut in his fucking contract in the beginning, so his agent, obviously shit the bed in the moment as well.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason why Baldoni's case was dismissed, was because he couldn't prove that he ever had that contractually either.
He didn't have it because, in fact, it's been proven the exact opposite. Wayfarer and Justin Baldoni did not have final cut. That's in writing.
Also, today...
And they never would. I said that at the time.
So today was actually the deadline for them to file their amended complaint.
So it still may happen. They have until midnight.
Right. It still may happen. But if they don't, then that means his entire case continues to be dismissed, and he's not going to have another
They're going
chance.
to file.
You think they're going to amend?
They're going to amend.
The judge was explicit and said that in your amendment you have to show what the court wants to see is the contracts.
So they're either not going to amend if they don't have corroborating evidence, or if they're just sick of the money. They might not amend to be like, you know what, let's just go down what we got to go down,
or also if their contracts don't support their claims. If they're like, we can't show them the contracts. So funny. Those guys, man. Okay, so Tony Kaye has directed 6 movies.
Over 30 years.
Yeah, well, American History X was the first one.
I know.
According to Letterboxd. I didn't go to IMDb. Let me do that. I'm interested in this because I wonder whether I thought he biffed his whole career with that.
He did.
But if he continued to direct movies, then obviously it wasn't so bad.
Well, he was never the director that he wanted to be or that he thought he was. I can assure you of that, because he thought he was fucking, Brian De Palma. He thought he was, Robert Altman. He thought he was, I'm not saying he actually thought that or that I know what he was actually thinking. I'm just saying he definitely didn't think he was. He thought he was above the studio, and he wasn't.
Okay, so awesome. I didn't realize that he was a music video and commercial director before he got that feature film.
I recall that as, yeah.
That's why it was so awesome looking.
Yeah.
But he did he did a lot of music documentaries. He did a film, something called Lake of Fire. Blackwater Transit Detachment. He's working. I don't think he got another studio release like American History X.
No, he blew his career. I watched it blow up right before my eyes. In the same way that Justin Baldoni did. They come up with these stupid fucking ideas. They're gonna be Martin Scorsese. And that's just not the case. That's just never gonna be the case. If you want to have control over every frame of your movie, then you need to do what Mike Leigh did. Well, Mike Leigh went up through BBC. You need to do what Woody Allen did. And that's find your investors who will invest in your movies and then sell them. And then you need to make them for cheap. Woody Allen was making his movies for $3 million a pop. Mm-hmm. Nobody worked for anything other than scale. And they worked on it for the privilege of working on something worthwhile.
Stefan said, I like the one that Tony Kaye did with Adrian Brody. That one's called Detachment.
Yeah, so he worked on good movies or big movies.
Delicate said about Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively.
Yeah.
That the Wayfarers are not producing Discovery either. Blake has produced almost 3,000 pages, and Team Baldoni has only produced about 80 pages each, and there are 9 people on the Wayfarer side.
Yeah, well, that isn't going to fly with the judge.
I thought was really interesting.
So, and Discovery is supposed to be completed by August.
Yes, well, she was supposed to be deposed today, and I don't think it happened.
Well, she's trying to get out of it.
Because they don't have Discovery completed. I mean, what's she supposed to answer questions about if they don't have anything to look over?
I mean, it's definitely a problem for them. Yeah, I mean, they're fucked. Discovery's bad for them. You know why they haven't handed in Discovery? Because it's bad.
Here's another thing too that's interesting is they're asking Blake Lively for conversations that she had, documentary evidence of conversations she had with Emily Baldoni. And why don't they just source that from Emily Baldoni? Isn't that weird?
Well, not necessarily.
Why would they be trying to get that from Blake?
I don't know.
They want lawyers to pay for that discovery instead of asking Emily?
Here's what I suspect. I suspect that Brian Friedman believed that he was going to be able to put so much public pressure onto Blake Lively that she would break and settle the case.
Yes.
And that when they settled the case, the settlement would favor Justin Baldoni enough to repair the damage, sufficient enough to mend his ways back into Hollywood or wherever it is that he wanted to go. And in the same way that Justin Baldoni fucked up when he decided to get a crisis team involved and then screwed up his whole life by acting hastily and greedily.
And taking Melissa Nathan's legal advice.
Yeah. Well, but then he repeated the same mistake with Friedman. He got an attorney who fired all his rockets at once. And they were all duds. They were all duds. And now he's got nothing left. He's standing in a pile of manure.
All of that was wasted money, wasted resources. Literally nothing came of it that is going to help them in their case.
Millions.
Like, that's so crazy that they didn't just defend themselves from Blake Lively's lawsuit. And instead they just wasted all that money putting together websites and 300-page documents, 1,000 pages in a month.
By people who charge exorbitant amounts of money to do so.
What a fucking joke.
It's not like...
I can't believe that they got rooked like that. I would never... Oh my God, can you imagine if somebody was like, no, Dale, you got to hire Friedman. He's the best. You'd be like, the best at screwing up his client's life.
Lawyers have that reputation for a reason.
Yeah, but why is the guy working when he's such a loser? He can't even make a coherent case. The judge said that it was foundationally flawed. He literally wrote a case that doesn't make sense.
What we don't know.
That's the main job of a lawyer, is to at least make sense in the court.
What we don't know, and what we may learn, or no, what we don't know and what we'll never learn, is that let me rephrase this. What we'll never know is whether or not Brian Friedman told Justin Baldoni and the other guys, you got nothing. You got nothing.
So let's just throw it at the wall.
So the two choices are, you guys try and get them to settle, which I don't think they will, or you just fire cannons and you just try to make a mess out of this because you guys don't have a case. We don't know that this strategy is the only strategy that was left, because he decided, because there are those lawyers out there that will just take a bad case for the money, because the money's ridiculous. He has a billionaire sitting across the table saying publicly, or at least I guess it's not publicly, there's the rumor that he said that he would spend $100 million to ruin Blake Lively.
Yeah.
And Brian Friedman's like, I'm your guy. $100 million? That's exactly how much I need for this life. So I think so we don't know whether or not Brian Friedman might be just acting upon his advice. Now, look, if Brian Friedman is that foolish, that means Brian Friedman is willing to risk his own actual status in the bar. I don't think anything that dramatic will happen to him, but he looks like a fool.
I wonder if there's anything that he's doing that is going to endanger his credentials.
Well, Delicate's pointing out that Blake has subpoenaed Friedman, which is true. Mm-hmm. They're looking for, but the subpoena.
That's pretty juicy.
The discovery they want there is whether or not they themselves had engaged in the defamatory campaign.
Right. I would absolutely be looking at Brian Friedman to ask, what did you coordinate with Megyn Kelly?
For sure.
On?
Candace Owens.
Like,
if anything.
Are you a point person instead of a publicist for these people?
For sure.
That's interesting.
28 years later is killing it at the box office.
Oh, I know. It looks so good.
Did you see what I did there with killing it at the box office?
Get it?
Pretty good.
Not killing it because it's undead, because it will never die, because it's a zombie. Get it?
28 years later is feeding on audiences all over the world.
Feeding on their brains?
I want to see it so badly. Have you seen it, Stefan? You probably have, you bastard.
Yeah. You guys always have your finger on the pulse.
I want to see it so bad.
Or the lack of pulse, because they're zombies.
It's absolutely killing. Of course, that's why Danny Boyle is in the news. You know what's amazing about Danny Boyle? Danny Boyle obviously had to do some kind of Q rating adjustments on Slumdog. That's why that's out there. Like, I've now learned that every time you see them talk about something, it's because they have to address it. It's that simple. Like Brad Pitt is on my list here. Brad Pitt's coming out talking about how he had to get into rehab after Angelina, that he, quote, needed rebooting. So he is obviously trying to deal with the fucking fallout of his children publicly hating him.
Yeah, because he needs to promote a movie, and people still think he's a shitbag.
Right. And this is where Leo's got trouble, because I already know that his movie's not tracking the way he wants it to. And maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but the word is it's not tracking. And if it's not tracking, like, apparently a lot of people are really confused about whether this movie is worth any of their time. And they're into it for $150 million, which is, by the way,
it's way too expensive for that kind of movie. I don't understand.
Almost 4 times the maximum, the highest budget that P.T. Anderson has ever worked with.
Yeah, see, I don't understand. Do you know why that movie?
Leonardo DiCaprio. That's why.
That's why?
Leonardo DiCaprio. Yes. Leonardo DiCaprio. They went and got Wolf of Wall Street and that whole Malaysian fund and that big mess that got before a grand jury. There's literally a fugitive right now at large who stole from the Malaysian government for Leonardo DiCaprio to make that fucking movie. That's at large right now. That man is at large right now. And that's all because Leo took $26 million out of a $93 million budget, and that still wasn't good enough. He still took another $11 million worth of oil paintings from Picasso and Basquiat as payment for that fucking movie. So in a $90 million budget, which that movie should have never been $90 million, but for a $90 million budget, Leonardo DiCaprio is responsible for $30+ million of that budget.
Well, so what's the breakdown for this P.T. Anderson movie?
Well, it's certainly not all Leo. They have a fucking star-studded cast on it, like ridiculous. Sean Penn's apparently ungodly good in it.
But that's why it was so expensive.
Steals it. Well, that's going to lend to the expense. None of these guys are going to work for free. But well, I say that, but Jonah Hill worked for $60,000 to do Wolf of Wall Street. Well, his buddy was making $30 million.
That's
so fucked up. I would like hate him for that. I'd be like, dude, because Jonah Hill was an Academy Award nominated actor.
Yeah, but the way that they think, they probably placed the blame on their agents for that. Like, why wasn't Jonah Hill's agent advocating for him a little better? You know?
Yeah. Stefan, I just found sushi rice attached to my leg hair because I'm in shorts right now. Stefan said...
Dale has made a new project.
Sushi rice.
In this time when Venus is in Taurus.
Yes.
It's a wonderful time to do elaborate, lovely things in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And Dale has made a new project of homemaking sushi.
Yeah.
And so for the last 2 nights, Dale has been like stressing himself out, rolling.
I got bruises. Just getting it wrong.
And you're like, this roll isn't as good as it was yesterday. I'm like, Dale, you're making sushi. It's wonderful no matter what. So you're wearing sushi rice, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I just found sushi rice attached to my leg here. I guess
it's stuck on your leg.
Kind of hurt. I was like, Jesus.
I know, making sushi is a lot messier than people think.
So yeah, that kind of blew my next call, which was that Brad Pitt is getting candid about his drinking, and he's obviously got reputational damage, and he's trying to repair it.
What was messed up is that. I mean, not messed up. I'm just judgmental. There's there are people in my family who have gone through like various types of like addiction treatment, and including AA. And Brad Pitt was talking about how he went to AA, and it's just like it's like. Okay, so he's
friends with Toby. Maybe Toby took him.
I know, that's exactly what I was thinking. But it's like,
so Toby's a sponsor.
A guy like Brad Pitt, who has like so many connections, so many resources. He definitely knows people that are doing actual addiction recovery.
Yeah.
And he's talking about going to like AA groups where there is literally nobody who is a licensed therapist or psychologist.
No, it's your sponsor.
It's literally just a bunch of other dudes who like aren't even allowed to they have this rule of like no crosstalk, so you're not even allowed to help each other. You literally just go and talk. It's like the lowest tier of recovery. There's no counseling. I don't even know what to call it. It's just a place you go. And so I can't believe that he's talking about it like it's some sort of fucking achievement.
I mean, some people, you know, he obviously views his you know, AA as a part of his recovery, and many others do, even if it is statistically an ineffective, you know, mechanism for addiction, over, you know, other alternatives and medical alternatives.
It's just so weird that he wasn't like, okay, let me go find somebody who does like the Sinclair method, or like somebody who's doing like naltrexone therapy, or like, you know, some like actually medically
mushrooms.
Right. Like even that kind of like a lot of people find these cures in like a, you know, a medical setting. And it's just so weird that he was like, oh, nope, I'm just going to sit in a smoky room and talk. You know, like he's in a Chuck Palahniuk book.
Palahniuk. You guys have to read.
Palahniuk. I know.
Palahniuk is how we used to name.
I know. Like I fused it into my brain, and now I know better, and I can't correct it. Palahniuk. Chuck Palahniuk.
Trying to find. I know I have another one here for ya. All right, let me line up this stuff. So in the 90s, I think it was the 90s. This is after Dawn's Plum. Do you remember there was a... well, let me just show it. I got to cue this up. So in the 90s, there was a short film that was shot on video that got...
What?
That just blew up.
Okay, say that again. There
was a short film in the 90s. I think it was in the 90s. Yeah, 1998. And it was shot on video. It's called True. Do you know this short? You do know this short because it became a part of American. You don't know the short, but you know the content of the short because it became a part of American culture at one point. You know, you'll know about it when I play it for you. But I have no idea why, but this struck me today and it hit me. And it turns out the guy who made this short film called True in 1998, he did this short interview, I guess. So I'm going to play it for you. It's 6 minutes long.
What? Why are you doing that?
Well, I'm just going to play the short for you, and then we can talk about it. I don't necessarily play the. I don't necessarily have to play the interview, but the short is super fun, and I think you'll totally enjoy it. So I'm going to play it for you guys, and then we can talk about it. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because in the 90s, well, first of all, it shows how ingenious ideas can happen in the smallest form, and that if you strike lightning in a bottle, your entire life can change in one single day's work. Let me just make sure I've got everything lined up for you guys so that you'll be able to see this clearly. You're on camera. Should I take you off? All right. Here it goes. Are you coming to watch it over here?
Well, I can't see it from over there.
All right. I'm waiting for Angela. She'll be right back.
Don't wait for me.
Oh, don't wait for you. Okay, here we go. Check this out. This is True, and we'll talk about it in a minute, but you guys will recognize this. This is like a 90s moment for me that I just wanted to share with you guys because, I don't know, it hit me today, and I wanted to share it with you. Here it is. It's called True.
And he does all those things that you'll Herbert Moore's noted for. He uses his height and his body to catch that ball. Just took it away from him. That's right.
Hello?
Yo, what's up?
Nothing, B. What's up with you?
Nothing.
Word?
Word. What's up with you?
Nothing, man. Just chilling.
True.
Oh, shit.
What?
It's the game.
True. So what's up, B?
Nothing, man. Just chilling. What's up with you?
Chilling.
What's up? Who's that?
Yo, who that?
Hold on a second. Yo, pick up the phone.
Hello? Yo, where's Dookie? Yo, Dookie!
Yeah.
What? Yeah, hold up. Hello?
First and 10 there's a Diddy from 25.
So what's up, man?
Nothing big. Chilling.
Oh, shit. Are you watching the game?
True.
So what's going on, B?
Chilling. What's up with you?
Nah, man. Just chilling.
And there it was. Oh, wait, I muted this. So you guys recognize that? There you go. You guys recognize that or what? I think I'm back live now.
Cosmic Urgency said, "I don't get it. It's just the Doritos commercial."
Well, that's actually, so this is what's interesting about that is that isn't the Doritos commercial. It's actually, you're thinking about the Bud Light commercial, by the way. That became a commercial afterward. So this guy, this filmmaker, and he does an interview afterwards. So he this thing was like, so there
He
was
got so rich, right?
Huh?
He got so rich.
Yeah, he got Bud. He got Bud. And that's where the commercial came from. So in 1998, this thing went around Hollywood. Like, so there was two things that went around Hollywood like lightning. This thing, we were all in tears all over Hollywood. It just fucking went like lightning everywhere.
It's got great timing.
It's amazing. And there's some really smart sound design in there too. The other thing was South Park, but it wasn't called South Park. It was called
I remember
a Jewish Christmas, I think it was
the
called.
very first, like the South Park concept was wasn't it from Spike and Mike's Sick and Twisted Animation Festival?
No, I don't believe it was.
That was Beavis and Butthead. Like started out as a Spike and Mike's little animated short.
Oh, well, so South Park was one that like we went to Sundance, but it didn't go to Sundance. It was just a VHS tape that was like fucking getting passed around at Sundance. I was there the year it was going around. I saw it at Sundance. Somebody just stuck it in a fucking one of those TV VCR combo deals. I died.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine seeing like that, like in an underground setting, seeing Cartman it was like, obviously it was called a Jewish Christmas. I think it was called a Jewish Christmas, which is, obviously they kill Jesus and all this.
And it was so much more like little construction paper cutouts too. Like they animated it like. And
it was like super, like it was back, because when South Park actually did launch, they didn't have the actual swearing or any cursing in it. So in a Jewish Christmas, it was Cartman going, "Fuck you, you Jew," and you're just like laughing hysterically, dying because it's like you can't believe the racism, the everything that's involved in this guy's work. Well, True, which I just shared with you, is just another one that in 1998 just kind of went around like crazy, and then they disappeared. And I was like super jealous because I thought these guys struck something brilliant here. And the filmmaker, he says something kind of interesting in this interview. The interview, by the way, if you just look up True, the original What's Up short film, you can find it. I can also put a link in the description for you guys. But if you're so curious. But he does this short interview, and in it, he's like, I think that I struck a form of love and friendship and happiness that everyone has or longs for. And we did it in like the most simplest form, but he's like, it just took off. And I think the reason it took off is because, obviously we had this really ridiculous thing going, but it also expressed like this one of the truest forms of love that you can have. Which
it's true. Those are like lost recipes now, because everybody just texts instead and like ignores their phone if they don't want to talk anymore. But instead,
exactly.
Oh, are we? Was there something wrong with the sound?
No.
Okay. You look like you were reacting.
Well, it's just because I'm paranoid, generally.
Stefan said, I've seen this reference a million times to the point I knew what it was immediately, but that was my first time actually seeing it.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, I'm glad I got to show it to you because I had a flashback today about it. I was just sitting here and I was working on these shorts that that we're pulling out of these lives. And I was sitting there and I was like, man, what was that short called? Because I was like working on shorts and I was thinking about, there was two shorts that always stuck with me. True, always stuck with me. And there's another one called The Frog Path. And the whole short is a realtor. I actually watched this with Tim Robbins at Slum Dance.
Oh, how fun.
And there's this realtor showing a house and they're talking about the house and they're just standing in this kitchen and they're like, yeah, it's got spacious counters, the dishwasher, state of the art. And they're just going back and forth on all the, yeah, I think my wife and I are really interested. Yeah. Well, there's just one question. What's this? And he points down and then the camera points down and it's this dirt path, this little thin dirt path going through the house all the way out the door. And he goes, oh yeah, that's the frog path. And that's the end of the fucking short. And then it pulls out and it just shows that this frog path goes through all these homes and neighborhoods and all the way. Just like, oh, that's the frog path. And I don't know why, but it was the funniest fucking thing I ever saw in my life.
Okay, what's super funny about that is that like digital filmmaking was still really new and like
super new,
sort of like inaccessible.
This is 1997 Sundance.
So somebody had like a dream.
Yeah, they put some bucks in it too. Like they had a frog path going right through the house, which was practical.
They like spent money.
Yeah.
Instead of like just coming up with something and like filming it with your phone.
Well, I think what I loved about it was that
did they actually do construction?
Yeah, they had a fucking frog path go right through the house. What I thought was genius about it was like that there is no such thing as a frog path.
I know, it's so great.
So it's just so brilliant because it's like, what is that? And he goes like, oh, that's a frog. It was just brilliant.
It's stupid non sequitur comedy.
Yeah, but there was something like so wildly sophisticated about it because it's so much satire.
So you think about that one all the time?
I always think about the frog path.
I think a lot about, every year I used to go and see Spike and Mike's Sick and Twisted Animation Festival,
Me too.
which you made me think of just now when you talked about South Park, but I was wrong because I've been wrong all night and probably most of my life. But I constantly think about the cartoons that I saw at that festival, like the one where he gets a hangnail and he like wants to resist picking at it because it hurts, but he can't resist. And so he picks at it and it peels. And then he's like, oh, crap, like that won't work. I'm going to have to take this off. And then he tries to pick it off and it peels and it peels.
Yeah.
And he gets the nail, the hangnail all the way up until it's like he's skinned alive. I think about that every single time I get one.
I used to go see that at Sunset 5 every year. They'd have this Sick and Twisted, Mike and Ike's Sick and Twisted festival. And it was at, Sunset 5 every year. And you paid like whatever, it was like $5 and you'd get like 2-3 hours of just short cartoons that were just hilarious.
They were also really high quality too, because ever since it was like not very many years into the festival when Mike Judge got really discovered and like blew up and had all those opportunities. And so everybody was really putting in their best work doing like this like super raunchy, like, I wish I could remember some more of them. Like Bill Plimpton. You remember those ones?
No.
He has a really unique animation style. If you look him up, you'll recognize him.
I'm sure I've seen his stuff because I've been to Sick and Twisted over and over again. Stefan is saying, it's funny, but it also evokes a warm emotion I don't quite have a word for. It's love. It's the thing is
camaraderie.
It's love though. It's just love. Like when you have that kind of a connection with a group of people that's so close that you can just trigger each other, that they couldn't wait to have this moment to just share this. Mm-hmm. And also that, like, the whole, like, yo, what are you doing? So what's going on? Nothing, man. I'm just watching TV. That back and forth is their longing to be together.
Yeah, they just wanted to hang.
They just want to be together. And they, and you know, they're on the phone, so silence isn't enough. You know, it's not like you can sit. Do you, I hope you have, or have had, or will have a friendship where you can just sit in the room with that person for very long periods of time and not say a single word and have a really great visit. That to me is like a sign of a great deal of love and respect between two people. And
I hear this all the time. People online are like begging for this type of relationship. I think it's like really big for neurodivergent people. I know I'm not like diagnosed or anything, but this appeals to me so much, where you just want to have a friend come over and like not talk to you and just like read a book or do a craft or whatever it is they want to do. And then you also do your own thing, but you're sharing space.
Yeah.
It's like the most delightful concept.
It's a thing like I think you have to have a certain, you know, friendship, level of friendship that to be able to pull that off for the other person, where one person won't just want to leave.
It's just like a high tier of
and ruin it.
It's a high tier of friendship because you're comfortable sharing a space without having to fill the air with communication. You know.
Let me see if I can.
Like that's like really comfortable. Delicate said, Adult Swim. I think if you I don't know if you can find it online, but the granddaddy of Adult Swim was Liquid Television, which was so fucking cool.
I have a vague memory of it.
I was so grateful to like exist at a time where I was like a preteen and Liquid Television was on MTV all the time.
It's called
where,
doubling.
Oh yeah, doubling.
Yeah, it's called body doubling.
Liquid Television was where like Eon Flux came from. I don't know if you guys know that.
Yeah, I remember that.
That
cartoon
character.
Or that, what's her name? Played her.
Charlize Theron, yeah.
Theron played it.
So yeah, that's the thing. It went from like animation festivals to Liquid Television to like this huge, you know, they made a movie of it. Big deal. Big time stuff.
Big time stuff. Well, that was a slice of the 90s that, came back to me, and it was like a really joyful moment. Like, it's interesting because like when that movie hit, when True hit, my first, this is after it's 1998. My life is completely destroyed. And now these guys are like the talk of the town. So the first thing was like weeks of envy that I had to do. It was just weeks of envy where I just sat there going, man, those fucking guys. And, and
it fucked it up for everybody because
admiration and reverence because I loved the short. I thought it was brilliant.
Of course. But it really like messed everybody up with these like false expectations because you can make an incredible short and have it not go anywhere too. There was a guy who won the Oscars. He made a short film and like swept.
Listen, I can tell you.
And he said after that nobody was calling him. He said that he couldn't get any work, no calls, no meetings, no nothing, and he literally won the entire fucking.
I met with an Oscar winner in 2010 when I was working with RD at Station 3. And the Oscars had happened, and he won, and took a meeting with us because he was taking meetings all over town. And it's a part of why I tell people if you want to be a feature director, direct features. You know, if you want to be a short director, direct shorts, or if you want to get I believe short films may not be today. Short material, things have changed quite dramatically from when I was coming up. But when I was coming up, I thought short films were. Proved one thing and one thing only, and that's that you could direct a short film or you could produce a short film. It does not mean you can produce a feature film. They're such different animals in terms of storytelling alone.
I do think that, I don't know anything about anything, but like it does seem really, really misleading that people are convinced that they should make a short film first if they want to be a feature film director. And I think that it was such a relief to see like Ava DuVernay spoke about this, where she was on some like she's
on a panel. Yeah,
it wasn't a panel. She was speaking at a podium. I can't remember. I don't remember what the event was, but she gave a speech and she was saying this to everybody. She was like, if you can put together the resources and the crew and the financing and the time and all the effort that it takes to make a short film, you got to just stretch it and figure out a way to create a feature film out of all of that effort.
She did not say stretch it. But she did say you should just make it into a feature, just make a feature film. So instead of writing a short, write a feature. You can't stretch a short into a feature. I've stressed this many times, but as far as
I'm sure she didn't mean stretch it the way you think that you've been accused, and like what they're accusing of is a very narrow thing. What she's saying is that stretch your resources, stretch the time commitment, stretch the everything that you're putting into it. They're not talking about stretching a short into a feature.
Yeah. So she talked about if you're going to put all that effort in, make a feature, and her logic at the time was, because that's what really gets you recognized. That's what really gives you a series. That's what really gets you a feature film. And that's still true to this day, probably, because again, short films really only prove that you have the capacity to make a short movie, and a short movie is not the same as making a feature film. Narratively, it's just a completely different animal. In the same way that, like, writing a short story, if you've ever written a short story in your life, they're nothing like a novel, most anyways. Some of them might be a little lengthy enough to be novellas, but that wouldn't be really categorically a short story. Short stories are slices of life story moments, innovation, horror, sentiment or whatever. Whereas full-length novels are full-length novels with multiple themes and storylines arcing and resolving through a paradigm, really, a 3-arc paradigm usually, or a 3-act or 4-act paradigm, maybe a 5-act paradigm. I don't know. Pick your paradigm as it goes. I'm going to do a whole video on paradigms, man. I'm so excited about that shit. I've been writing it and shit.
Delicate said, what about documentaries? Would you consider them features?
Well, feature-length documentaries, certainly, yeah.
So it's the length that determines a feature?
Yes.
Yeah.
Length, definitely. It's just all about 60 minutes. Above 60 minutes is, according to the Academy, a feature-length film. And anything below 60 minutes is considered a short film. But short films are generally 30 minutes or less. Because a 60-minute short is a fake out. It's like, fuck you.
So, how are you feeling?
Well, I'm still really excited about Russell Crowe joining the Highlander.
Oh, you're still talking about stuff. Do you know that the time is 9:20?
Yeah, we're gonna go. I think that bringing Russell Crowe to the Highlander brings Russell Crowe back to a role that I think he can really bite off. Like he was amazing in so many different roles, man. Like The Gladiator, I'll never forget him in, but he was also amazing in so many others. And I love that he's kind of getting back to something that's like kind of period fantasy or period lore, just general lore. I love it. So I'm excited.
Do you think that they're going to talk in their own accents in this movie? Or do you think they're both going to be like assigned British accent? Like anything?
No, he's just going to talk as an Aussie. He knows most Americans are going to call him British anyway.
I can't remember what the Highlander was. Like, did they have English accents?
Scottish.
Scottish?
Highlander.
Oh, should have been Scottish Highlands.
should have been a Scottish accent anyway. But
could have put that together, huh?
It was the Highlanders. I'm excited for the reboot, but you got to see the original before we do. So that's going to be on our list. You have a fucking growing list, don't you?
I know.
Got to get you all caught up.
I know. Dale's realizing that I've missed out on a lot of my film education. I don't have a...
Well, you have plenty of film fluency. You just haven't, there's like a proverbial line that you haven't.
So basically like every movie from like 3 decades only. And that's it.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot. That's a lot of movies to see. So it's not a big deal. All right. I am getting excited. I can feel my eyes burning already. You guys are fucking amazing as usual. Thank you. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I hope you'll share some of it with us because I think we're going to have lots of fun this week talking about stuff. Please check out the shorts if you get a chance and give them a like and give them a little boost. They're getting like a little bit of attention, a little peeny. I expect, as with every social media that I've ever tried, which is 2, that, you got to apply consistency and stuff. And so we're not this, you see, I'm not doing any branding on any of the lives now. There's no graphics or anything. This just gives me the opportunity to cut the shorts, keep it clean, and hopefully do a little more extra entertaining. So if you get a chance, go and like some of those lives, and maybe they'll be like, good memories of some of the times we've had. Also, I also bring some of you guys up in these shorts because you guys are a part of this content. And I'm really grateful that you guys are willing to share yourselves with ourselves while we yak into microphones. You want to go maybe have some lychee nuts and watch something?
Yeah.
Good night, everybody. You guys are the best. I truly mean that. That is not just rhetoric. It's truly how I feel. And